All right, welcome back to Buck What You Heard. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Buck What You Heard. You follow me, I will follow you back. Tonight we have a very special show, and a little bit later on we're going to have Brad Johnson from the world champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the first championship team that won the Super Bowl, and we get to talk with him a little bit. And I don't know if you guys have seen him on social media doing the trick shots. The guy's incredible. I want to kind of pick his brain on throwing passes for QB 54. I've got to get better at this. I know I need to get out and practice a little bit more. Haven't been practicing like I should, but I definitely want to get better at QB 54. And you talk about a guy that was the quarterback of a Super Bowl championship team. What better person to help you really work on your game than that's than what you normally do. So again, I'm excited about that. How's everybody doing? We're near camp. Evan Winter has been doing a great job. Bucks Report's really been killing it with the shows. Harry the Greek, Neil L is in. What's going? The champ is here. I like that. So what are your thoughts so far with camp and everything, Neil? Longtime listener, and again, somebody I really appreciate when he gets a chance to get in here and chat with us. Champa Bay will be on here a little bit later on. I think she's running a little bit behind, but we will get her on here too as well. So what's going on, Christopher Cole, Jason Ritchie, what's going on? How's everybody doing tonight? Me personally, I'm just ready for football to get here and get this thing going. But it's going to be a fun show tonight. I've got some other guests I'm trying to get corralled into to call in as well. So we'll be doing quite a bit. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Let's see here, Keith. All right. So Neil, what happened with Brady today? Johnny Dean, what's going on? Johnny Dean, again, a guy I love talking football with. And again, on the back end of the show, I will open up the phone lines and get people to call in because I do want to hear from you guys. So be sure to look forward to that. This is going to be one of those things. My fellow Bucks fans, what's going on in Glock We Trust? How you doing? Um, has anybody been to camp? Anybody out there a season ticket holder? And have you been to camp? And what was your experience like? I'd love to hear from you guys as well on that. So definitely call in or call in the back end of the show, and we'll definitely take your call. All right, you are live on Buck What You Heard. Who are we speaking with?
This is Brad Johnson.
Brad Johnson of the world famous Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the man, Mr. 60% is what I like to call you, with a 13 seasons straight with that 60% average there. How you doing?
Doing great. Appreciate you guys having me on the show.
All right, man. Thank you so much for taking time. I really appreciate it. I know the dude has talked with you a little bit about QB 54. I don't know. Have you seen the game? Have you seen how it works?
QB 54?
Yeah. I don't know.
I've never heard of it.
Okay. Okay. I'll have to get with you. I'm going to have to get some video out here to show you a little bit. Basically, okay. It's a lot. I've seen your trick shots on on social media, and I know basketball is your first love. Football, close second. I understand that, but your arm. I mean, the touch that you put on the ball. I need to learn that. That's. I know you can. I still believe you can teach an old dog new tricks. So, I mean, for you, I mean, as far as technique and stuff like that goes, was that something that just naturally came to you? I mean, throughout your career?
Yeah, you know what? I enjoyed. I could throw a rock. I could throw a baseball. I could throw a frisbee. I could throw a football, and that was just a natural God-given talent that I had to throw, and obviously just improved over my lifetime. And what's been interesting these last, when I retired 12 years ago, I've been coaching youth sports. I'm coaching high school football now. We just went to back-to-back state championships. We lost in finals, but I actually
Congratulations,
throw a lot.
though.
I train a lot. Yeah, it's been great. I train a lot of kids on the side and help out kids, but every time a kid throws the ball to me, I got to throw the ball back.
Right.
And so I actually throw a lot of footballs now. So there's certain skill set. There's a certain way you grip it, a certain way you kind of you put your feet, a certain way you twist your your shoulders,
Yeah.
and kind of and you want to keep your head still and bounce eyes, elbow fall through, and all those things, and just kind of make the throw simple.
Yeah. So did it just come naturally to you, or did it take a lot of work to get to that point?
It's work. It's a feel. It's a feel. So it's funny. So there's so many different throw motions, and you want the most simplest form that you can find. And so it's a little bit different than playing in the game where you just got to react and make throws and make a play. But if you have the right form, you got a chance. It's like Shaquille O'Neal, okay?
Yeah.
Shaquille O'Neal cannot shoot free throws. He can shoot 10 million of them. He can't shoot it. You know what I mean?
Did you ever just want to get on the court?
Player.
Did you ever want to get on the court and shoot them for him?
It hurts. Him and Ben Simmons. It hurts. Just make the shot, man. Just put it in the hole. But yeah, but if he missed like 4,000, 5,000, free throws. If he makes half of those, he's the all-time leading scorer ever over Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Form is the key. So it's the way you hold the ball. It's the way you keep your eyes. It's the way you focus in on being pinpoint accurate, and then just kind of letting let the fall through and naturally just kind of let the ball go to the spot that you want it to go to.
It's interesting you say that. Nolan Ryan talked about simplicity in the game. And,
Right.
I know, like for you, I don't know if the technique or the throwing motions, the mechanics, are there similarities between basketball and football for you? I mean, was it easy? Because I know you played through high school into college. Was it easy for you to make that transition from basketball to football and vice versa?
Yeah, basketball is my love, but I was 3A player of the year coming out of North Carolina and scored 2,400 points, and I love basketball. But I think there's a lot of transition to when you find guys that can play multiple sports. And in basketball, it's awesome. I mean, you're playing. Is it man? Is it zone? What's the out of bounds play? Is it how much time's left on the clock? Is it what I mean?
Yeah.
Is it a half court trap? And you're always thinking. You're always attacking. What's the situation? And so it's the same thing in football. Is it first down, second down, third down? What's the down and distance? How much time's on the clock? What's your personnel grouping? So I think those guys that can think on their feet, they're quick twitch thinkers that can naturally play different sports, and just the leadership skills that take place in all those things. I think being a more well-rounded athlete. I'm not talking about speed or those kind of things, how far you can jump. I'm talking about just being athletic. Same thing with Brady. No one would ever say he's really athletic, but you know what? He's extremely athletic in the pocket.
Right.
Extremely. Within a 6-foot box, it's unbelievable. And the guy, he played baseball, he can play golf, he just kind of, good all around. So you'll find that with the better passers, and I say passers, not throwers.
Yeah.
And there's a big difference. And some guys, honestly, it's funny to play catch with them. Some guys throw a catchable ball, and some guys just throw a hard ball.
Right.
And it's fun when you play with somebody that's catchable and they can place it where they want to place it,
Yeah. So when you're transitioning from sports, does that help you like pre-snap read? Does that help you to read defense when you're playing basketball and you're having to identify, different, different schemes as far as basketball goes? Does that help you, when you transition over to football and you're able to, under center, you're able to pre-snap read, you're able to look at the defense and identify, what's going on there. Just being able to play multiple sports, does that help you with decision making?
There's no doubt about it. You want to be able to, I keep saying quick twitch thinker, but basketball is it man? Is it zone? Is it odd? Is it is it 1-3-1? Is it 2-1-2? Is it man to man? What are the numbers on a pick and roll? Is there help side defense? And in football, it's about concepts. It's about how many guys in the box. What are the blocking angles? What are the number count versus? Are you getting 2 receivers out versus a 3-man side? Are you getting 3 receivers? Are you flooding a side? So just seeing space. That's a big deal to be able to see space and to be able to, for a quarterback to anticipate the hole and to be able to throw guys open. It's a gift. It's something that you have to work at, but it is a gift at the same time.
Well, that's amazing. I mean, and we were talking about quarterbacks, and you mentioned Tom Brady. What was your, as a coach, what is your evaluation of what you saw from him last year?
Super Bowl champ. You know, I
I
mean,
think
the
you are the
guy
only two
came
guys
down
in the
there with,
room. As in Buck's lore, you guys are the only two guys in the room. So just as
yeah.
just I realized that what he did was pretty phenomenal. I mean, what stuck out to you the most for him? Just watching him play.
Moving from been in one system for 20 years, having to learn a whole new system, a new snap count, having to put his kids into a new school, how to get to work. You know,
Yeah,
I mean, it took him a while. Those are things that you know
yeah, and I
that are
know.
harder than people think.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
and just and learning the people in the build. Like, he's a great leader, okay,
Mm,
and all those things. But if you don't know the guys in the building, you don't know the secretaries' names, you don't know who the equipment managers are, you don't know. I mean, it takes a while to
mm.
just get comfortable, and so he's got obviously Bruce Arians and Byron Leftwich and Clyde Christensen, the QB coach, and Tom Moore, and it took a while. At one point, they were 7-5, and then they lost 3 out of 4 in the month of November, but then they caught fire.
Yeah,
And Tom's a great, great, great decision maker. He lets the coverage dictate where the ball goes. They have tremendous playmakers, not just Godwin and Evans, but I mean, it's not Gronk, it's not Ronald Jones, it's not Leonard Fournette. I mean, it's not Scotty Miller, it's not Cameron Bray. It's all of them.
yeah,
It's all of them, and that's his greatness. He just he can throw it. He'll find the ball to a check down. He'll take a deep shot. So I think learning the terminology and learning what he liked, what they liked, and then just being able to work together. That's a gift, and I'm sure that was one of his hardest things to overcome. And this year, dealing with fans, being back in the
yeah.
stands, it was an odd year for him last year, but his greatness being able to transition down there, and they made some unbelievable moves in free agency for him by bringing in some more players and loading up on the offensive side. So they came through in the clutch, and it's pretty awesome to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And for you, I mean, the same can be said for you. I see a lot of parallels between the two teams. I won't compare the two as the same, but each team is different. But when you look at the changes that the Buccaneers made to get to where they were, I mean, you were an integral part of that. I mean, you were a very steady as a fan. And I remember you coming in and how calm you were, and you weren't a liability offensively. I mean, just took the game as it came, and you took advantage of mismatches, and I saw a lot of that, and I see a lot of the same thing with the Bucks and how they've brought this team. They've all come together collectively as a team. And the one thing that I will say about you, Brad, and I appreciate this, is that you never put the offense in a bad situation, which put stress on the defense. You guys all work together in concert, and it was a great thing to see, just your career in Tampa and what you were able to accomplish.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it greatly. Thank you. So it was, but there were so many similarities, honestly, with the team that they had this year and what our Super Bowl team, where Tom was having to learn a new system, and we were having to learn a new system under Gruden, and
Yeah,
then their defense this past year, the offense scored 145 points off of turnovers. They scored 45 points off of turnovers in the playoffs, and so great defenses. He didn't turn the ball over. I didn't turn the ball over. And then, coming through in the clutch in the playoffs and Super Bowl. And so it takes a lot more than just one or two. I just mentioned that's like 10 receivers, and
exactly.
really, and so, but it takes, the greatness of a quarterback is being a great decision maker,
Mm.
then obviously distributing the ball and letting those guys make plays. And then sometimes you got to punt the ball, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? And punt it and be able to deal with it, but then score in crucial moments. And that was the fun part about watching the greatness of their team this past year. They came through in the clutch and winning 3 games in the playoffs on the road and all those kind of things. So it's pretty awesome to bring back the Lombardi trophy for Tampa.
absolutely. So another question I had for you, when you look at the NFL today, what are your thoughts on the NFL, the direction it's gone since you've been away from the game? How do you feel about today's NFL?
Well, the game, yeah, you know what? They've made rules to protect the quarterback. You know,
Mm.
they've made rules to you know, you can't grab and hold the receivers at the line of scrimmage and protect some of those guys. And and then check guys for concussions and things like that. So, I mean, nowadays the systems have gotten better, players have gotten better, quarterbacks are putting up numbers that are just astronomical. If you used to throw for 4,000 yards when I was playing, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And if you threw over, just like you mentioned in the monologue, if you threw over 60%, it was a big deal. Last year, if you look at last year's starters, there was only one starter that did not throw over 60% last year. And I think you had either 3 or 4 guys hit 70%. So the game has changed. I think it's for the better.
Yeah.
People and fans, they want to see points scored, excitement, and that's what you're getting. So obviously, this thing called RPOs and stuff like that have gotten better, but players are better now. I really do feel that, just because the game has evolved and players are evolving also.
And that's what I like about you. I mean, you're working with the young kids, so you're not that football purist who wants things back the way they were. You're evolving with the sport, and that is a wonderful thing to see. Greatly appreciated. And
you have to evolve.
Yeah.
You got to evolve, or you'll be left behind. So I think the game's a better game now.
Yeah, and I know that you started out I think you were 9th round pick in Minnesota. Minnesota drafted you, if I'm not mistaken. And
right.
And then you went to Washington, and then you went to Tampa, you went to Minnesota, and then you went to Dallas. So for you, the adjustments have just been throughout your NFL career were just continuously ongoing. How does that work? How does that factor into preparation and stuff like that when you're having to go from this place to this place? And I think for you, it sounds like it's more the love of the game, more so than anything else, the way you've handled it.
Yeah, very rarely do you see one player just stay with one team. I mean, Derrick Brooks did, John Elway did, Michael Strahan did, Eli Manning did. But you know what? Joe Montana did not. Jerry Rice did not. Steve Young did not.
Exactly.
Peyton Manning did not. Aaron Rodgers is trying to get out of Green Bay. I mean,
so do you think he's gone?
On a different team. So I don't know. I mean, that's a long ways away. But what I'm saying, Brett Favre, he played for 4 teams too.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, if you change teams, it's not a bad thing. But the continuation of learning football and having to learn different code names and systems and terminology. I learned 5 different systems, and so it's a lot.
And that makes you more valuable, I would think.
It does, but sometimes you got to forget some of the things that you ran on that particular team, and it's just like Tom probably had to make concessions of what Pyre left with, the way he called a play or the way they read out a particular play. Like, I'm sure when he got there, he said, "This is ridiculous." You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna get me killed. You're gonna make me throw a bunch of interceptions. And I'm sure they had some meetings in a dark room and said, "I don't like this. I don't like that." And let's work on getting together on the same page. So those conversations have to take place, and it's for every player you have to evolve, and you always want to continue to learn new different ways for protection or different ways to run routes and be able to deliver a ball as a quarterback.
So did you ever have to have any of those conversations? I mean, when you were in there, did you ever get to a point where, hey, we have to have a meeting together and we have to come together and try to figure some things out? Throughout your career, did you ever have times where you had to do that?
You know what? I tell you what, playing with John Gruden was awesome, to be honest with you, because the reason why is you were with him all day long. It started at 7:30 in the morning, and it finished at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So, and by what I'm saying, there's a lot of coordinators they will install the plays at 8:30 or 9 in the morning, and they install it at 10 o'clock, and then you see them at the walkthrough, and then you don't see them again until after practice. And then sometimes you don't even see those guys till Saturday night before the install is made. So what I'm saying is, with Gruden, you got to agree or disagree upon the play every day for the whole day. And it was awesome because at the end of the week, you were on the same page.
Right.
And so are there some coordinators that sometimes you got to call the secretary and what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Yeah, there is. And some of those, they fail. And so that's the greatness when there's a relationship, when there's dialogue, there's communication between the quarterback. One quarterback may want to throw this particular route. The other quarterback may not. This coach likes this play. When the coach can say, "Hey, here's the 6 third medium plays. which one do you want to run, quarterback? And he's good with all of them. And
Yeah.
you can put them in order, then you're going to go someplace. But if it's a one-way street, the coordinator is going to call his play no matter what, then you're going to be quarterback's going to struggle. You want to make the quarterback feel comfortable, just like the play caller.
Man, this is great stuff, to be honest. And these are things that I've always thought about, because when a coach is flexible and they're able to make adjustments and they're able to play on the strengths of the players, as opposed to sticking with drawing up this game plan. I've got this game plan. I'm not going to make any adjustments. I don't care what everybody else does. You got to go out and execute what you're going to do. At the end of the day, when you're able to be flexible and you're able to you're able to play off of your quarterback strengths or your team strengths as a whole, I mean, that's what puts a team above other teams that, struggle because they're forced to run a certain play and you don't see those adjustments. And would you say that John Gruden is one of those guys that's big on adjustments and flexible with play calling?
Yeah, I would. And honestly, kind of going back just a little bit, it's different when you have a guy like Tom Brady's been in the league 22 years, or Aaron Rodgers who's on his 17th year, and a guy that has experience is a little bit different than, Trevor Lawrence. He's just he's never called a play in the huddle before.
Right.
Plays for Jacksonville now, and Clemson, one of the best quarterbacks of all time, all those kind of things. So it's going to be a different learning curve for him,
right,
than it is, those adjustments. So those conversations are different. But, with John, yeah, because you agreed upon the plays. He's going to put in his play, and then you're going to talk about it, and you say, well, what if you put a motion to it? Well, what if you use so-and-so? What if he wants to throw a front side route, this corner and flat and whatever it may be. And I may say, hey, if it's single up on the backside, let's put that guy on the comeback. And, maybe I don't like the coverage, I can just throw the comeback. You say, I've never done that before, but that's a good idea. Yeah. Okay, let's go, coach. Save that play for this play and save that play for this play. That's when you're going to go places. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So do you ever get to do that with your kids? I mean, do you guys do you see, or your kids see plays out there, and do they talk to you about it, and you guys come up with something just based on what's going on with the game at that time?
No, high school's a little bit different.
just ask it. Just put that out there.
It's a little bit different. So, I mean,
yours is more structured.
High school coach. Oh, very. Yeah. So it's more like, you say, coach, what do you think about that play? And they'll say, coach. He'll say, player, when you become a head coach, you can call your own ball plays. So it's a little bit different at high school levels. A high school coach is going to kind of dominate the conversation. But every now and then you'll find a unique high school coach that's flexible, that really has a great relationship with his QB, if that quarterback has those kind of talent. So it's not for every quarterback, it's not for every coach. It depends on skill set and what their communication level is.
Do you focus a lot on fundamentals when preparing your kids and stuff? I mean, just the things that could carry them to the next level. Is that like the most important thing for you?
There's no doubt. Even at the pro game, the one thing you can it's called the Jimmies and Joes, and you can draw there's some great ball coaches that can draw some great plays. They can beat you on the whiteboard, you know what I mean? But eventually you better have the fundamentals. And as the season goes on, that's for the NFL game, you're playing 17 games now, and then plus playoffs and plus preseason games. And so, they don't have as much time in the off season as they used to. So, as a coach, you want to teach, but if you don't stick to your fundamentals, it will catch up to you in the end. And usually the most fundamentally best team will win at the end of the day.
Man, that is amazing. And so for you, is there anybody out there that you see this season? I mean, I don't know how much of the NFL you've been really following right now, but is there anybody out there that you think could be a potential front runner for the Super Bowl outside of Tampa?
Yeah, Tampa, they got everybody coming back, so they got a chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I the fun team to sit here and watch is the Cleveland Browns, the Baltimore Ravens. They were, they're right there.
The
and then
Bills,
Pittsburgh Steelers. At one time last year, they were 11-0. The Bills, they're right there in the thinking championship game. You know what I mean? So, so there's so many teams that can win it. You can have fun with conversations of who's who, but eventually, teams got to deal with injuries. The course of the season is long, and so there'll be, you're gonna take a lot of detours along the way, and but So it's going to be fun. That's
Yeah.
what makes the game so great. There's not really very many Super Bowl teams that actually repeat.
Yeah. Very
So
rare.
it's a hard thing to do. It's hard to do it once, not alone go back to back. And so hopefully Tampa will get that done this year.
Yeah. Hey, do you have any new trick shot videos coming out soon?
Man, I've been putting out some strong ones. So you can catch me. Yeah. You can check me out on obviously Twitter. I put a lot of stuff out there on. It's my Twitter is Brad_Johnson_14, and then my TikTok is Big Bad Brad 14. But yeah, man, I got some really good stuff I've been doing, and then I got a couple coming out here pretty soon that are top notch stuff. So my trick shots, they're really not just one shot and then I edit. I never edit none of that stuff. It's about making 3, 4, 5 trick shots in a row, and then something kind of neat. So had fun with it, gets me some exercise, and hopefully some people kind of enjoy some of that stuff too.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got one video. I haven't shared it with too many people, but I got out there and I hit 4 in a row. And for me, I haven't picked up a ball in about 5 years, 5, 6 years, but I got out there and I still got a little bit of touch there.
Yeah, and I tell people too, just go out there and make some shots. Even if it's not a trick shot, just go around the world or whatever it may be. Get outside and put a ball in your hand and start sweating a little bit. You know what I mean? So have fun with it.
Yeah, Ruth the Truth, one of the other podcasters on here. We're gonna play horse at some point. Next time I'm in Tampa, we'll get together and we're gonna play a game of horse and see how that all works out. Because she puts the videos out too. She'll set the phone down and she goes out there and shoots, and she got nice technique. But I was the horse champion, so I'm gonna have to defend my title.
No doubt. No doubt.
Well, Coach, thank you so much. You are now a friend of the show. I really hope I can get you on again and pick your brain. You are a wealth of knowledge, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you reaching out. So enjoy being on your show. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. You have a good one.
Okay, you too.
All right. All right, guys. That was Brad Johnson of the world champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback. Again, thank you for coming on. It's greatly appreciated. And I'm going to try to get him back on again. And give me 1 second. I'm going to try to get Stephen Glasker. I'm going to try to get him on here. And we're gonna talk a little bit of football. I promised him I would get him on here. He does a great job. I've had him on with seen him on with Johnny Dean, and he just hasn't been on my show yet. So give me 1 second. I'll get him on here, and we will go, because I have some questions for him, on how things are going, and kind of go around the league a little bit. So oh yeah, Ramona K, how you doing? I haven't talked to you for a while. Yeah, the Bucks versus the Dolphins. And we're going to see how that all plays out. You know what? Let me go through the chat here. Sports Talk Florida. Shout out to Sports Talk Florida. Greatly appreciate what you guys do. Great organization. Will the Brewer, Misador, how you doing? Talking about Kyle Trask. Marcus Reed, how you doing? Good. Thank you for checking us out. I just sent Steve the link, and you know what? Let me see if I can get some more. If anybody is at their computer and they want to come on and just kind of chat a little bit, I'm just gonna go in. I'm gonna drop the link out here. I'm gonna be reckless and dangerous tonight. How about that? Have Brad Johnson on, so there he is. So if you can get on, that's cool. I appreciate that. Robert Craig, I believe it's a little bit more difficult to throw to somebody running at full speed. Yeah, it is, I'm sure. And, I understand that. Ken might be looking like Ken might be right about Taysom being the starter second day. He took first team reps. It's, but it's still kind of early. I'm not 100%. Like I said, you guys have heard my argument about Jameis Winston versus Taysom Hill, and I'll stand by that until the season starts, because I believe that Taysom Hill is an offensive weapon, and I've continuously said that. And yeah, he can throw the ball, he can make plays, but I think you're taking away an offensive weapon by making him a starter, where you can't just implement him in the system where you want to. Whereas Jameis Winston is somebody who you can have him under center, you can swap him out, and you can bring Taysom Hill in and you're maximizing your offense, because at this point right now, the Saints are really hurting. Steven, how you doing, man?
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Good.
Brothers in stereo. Nice.
I'm
Nice.
so glad to have you on, man. Finally, how you been?
I've been good, man. How you doing?
Good. Misador says, "Where's your car?"
It's parked down. It's parked downstairs, Mr. Door. Sorry to disappoint. Yeah, man. I enjoyed the interview with you and Brad. That was awesome, bro. Good job.
Yeah. You know that he's one of those guys that he didn't never really get enough credit. Just being that calming effect. With the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, when you look at Trent Dilfer and what he did, and some of your other quarterbacks that were prior to Brad Johnson getting there, and just what he was able to accomplish, it gets kind of overlooked with what everybody else does.
Yep, that's true. That's true. And the one thing they'll never be able to take away from him, Super Bowl champion Brad Johnson.
That's
can
right.
never take that from him.
Exactly. Him and Tom Brady are the only two in the room, and as far as Bucks history goes.
Yep, that's right. That's right, brother.
So, have you been following camp?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. One of my favorite things, as I was saying earlier, I was talking to some of the miscreants about it, and one of my favorite things in all the interviews I've seen, because I kind of watch them play, and then I watch kind of the interviews after the fact, the press conferences. Right. And one of my favorites literally was the one that Tristan Wirfs did. Now the second year right guard, but he said, right tackle, really. He said that what was great about the whole ring ceremony thing, and this is why I was concerned, because a lot of times, this, Gene, they get the rings and it's like, yeah, we're Super Bowl champs now, yeah. And he said something that really stuck out with me. He said, once they got the rings and everybody's having fun at the party and stuff, the number one emotion he remembers is everybody itching to get back to the football field.
Yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah,
that's a big plus.
This is a special team. I don't know how far they're going to go, but this is a special team. I mean, when everybody works to get back, and I've never seen this in the free agency era, and I know I sound like a broken record, but it's just astonishing to me that you're seeing this in the free agency era where everybody comes back, because there's always that one player that stands out as a really solid Super Bowl or an epic Super Bowl and ends up going to another team.
Right.
But with team, everybody came together and they came back. So this is exciting this year.
Well, I think it's a couple of things. I know I'm gonna Brady fanboy out right now, but I believe this is the truth. I think what happened, and I'm gonna tie in New England here. I think what happened in New England after 20 years and 9 Super Bowl appearances. Think about that: 20 years and 9 Super Bowl appearances. Is I think Belichick was starting to believe his own press. And he was starting to believe it was really me. I'm the one who made all this happen. Now, don't get me wrong, he had some phenomenal defenses during that 20-year run. But, okay, I made Brady. Brady wouldn't be anywhere. Because remember, before he left and when they wouldn't renew his contract, it was all, they had some assistant coaches anonymously saying, off record, on the record rather, but anonymously saying, we could win with any quarterback here. Remember that got out right before he left?
I remember that.
We can win with any quarterback here. And I think what he started to believe was, I'm the guy. I'm the reason why players want to come here and play. They want to play because I'm Bill Belichick. And so when Brady left, he found out the players play because of Brady. They want to play with Brady. And so I think what helped here in Tampa, because one of the things that happened early on, I'm sure you also remember, is during that whole contract negotiation, we're going to be able to keep everybody this year. After Super Bowl, you usually lose a lot of people. Shaq might be gone, Sue might be gone, all these kinds of, deals, right? LVD might leave. Brady was one of the first people to step up. He and Mike Evans. Mike Evans was willing to rework his deal. But Brady was also one of the first people to step up and say, rework my contract. And it saved them $19 million on this year's cap. Just him reworking his contract. And there's in football, if you have a real leader, people want to follow that person.
Right.
And I think they want to stay and play here because it was a special team. I mean, it's a phenomenal Cinderella team. And they wanted to see if they can make it happen again with the same people. They wanted to play with the guys that brought them. You know what I mean? So,
and you listen to Brad Johnson, and Brad Johnson was talking about Tom Brady, and he talks about that leadership. And, that's something. And again, there are two separate eras, but you see those comparisons. You saw the calming effect that, Tom Brady had. He's not the Tom Brady of old, but he still had that calming effect on this offense. He
Right.
didn't stress you're not stressing your offensive line. You're putting people in a position to succeed, and you holding people accountable. I mean, that Chicago Bears game was probably a big difference maker where he made people accountable on both sides of the ball. You saw that, and they played harder and they played together, and they came together as a team because a
Mhm.
true leader makes everybody around him better. And we've seen
Yeah.
that. We've seen that, and we saw that here.
Yep, you're right. I think they went from one of the highest penalized teams in the league until after that game, they were one of the fewest penalized teams in the league. I agree. I think that was a turning point.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And these are why my expectations are so high. Is what you've seen from him. You got a year playing together under your belt, and you've got new people that are coming in. You can sprinkle them in, plug and play, and get them up to speed pretty quickly because the majority of your offense, defense, special teams have all played together. So that is a definite plus when going into the season. And for me, knock on wood, it's all about keeping your team healthy, and you got an extra game in the get extra game that counts. Got to keep that team healthy, man. I think that's the most important thing right now.
And that's where I think the draft. Can you imagine? When did Gene? When did you see this happen in NFL history where you draft solely for depth? There was no need to go get any new starters. It was solely for depth.
And the cupboard, because you go back to 2014, cupboard was bare. They
Yep.
they blew up the offensive line and just basically started over from scratch. And at those years, and I can even go back 2010 to now, there was never a time where we're like, oh man, we're just drafting for depth. It's always been a need. Every single draft the Bucks have had has been a need. We have a need on the defensive line, got a need at secondary. We have a need in offensive line. There's always been a need. And they were able to address the trenches on both sides. They were able to get depth on the trenches on both sides. The Buccaneers have never had that in the history of this team. We've never seen a team assembled the way this one is and what we have right now.
And that's a credit to Jason Light and his staff because for a long time, I don't know what the Bucks were doing, but they were doing some crazy drafting, just like Martin Gramatica, not Martin Gramatica, the kid that Jameis Winston, the kicker for Jameis Winston,
Roberto Aguayo.
I mean, why do you draft a kicker that high? I mean, just crazy stuff. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, he and his folks brought it together, and they have been hitting on all cylinders for the past 4 drafts. They've been hitting on all cylinders, man. It's been crazy.
Yeah, they really have. Yeah, when I look at that, I think minus the 2016 draft, they've always they've brought in players that have really helped this team. Look, Mike Evans was your first major move as a general manager, and he's like one of the cornerstones of your offense. I mean, it speaks volumes about him. And Tampa had issues for years evaluating talent. They were horrible talent evaluators. And it went all the way back to Bruce Allen. I didn't bring that up with Brad because I don't want to, I don't know what the relationship is. Bruce Allen, my liver still hates Bruce Allen, just all the way to now. So just what they've turned around has just been nothing short of incredible.
Yeah, it's a great thing for the city of Tampa. It's a great thing for the teams. It literally is Tampa Bay. You've got the Rays, you've got the Lightning, and now you got the Buccaneers, all championship at one level or another, all champions. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it really is. Teresa Baxter was saying hi to you.
Hi, Teresa.
Vita Vea,
my girl.
There you go. Vita Vea, had that injury. I know Bud was talking about that, and that was huge. But one other thing that we don't really get to talk about either is how these players came back from injury at the right time.
Right.
And that was huge. I mean, we saw how damaging it was not having Ali Marpet on the field. You get him back, and it really solidified your offensive line, like they talked about Vita Vea. I didn't personally last year, didn't think Vita Vea would be available regardless of how far into the postseason they got. Just because of what I saw with that injury, and I was totally grossed out by the injury. But
Yeah, yeah, it was
seeing the
bad.
injury and him recovering and playing at a high level is just phenomenal, and it just goes back to the quality of talent that you have on this team.
I completely agree with the point you made. That's honestly though, that's why one of the things, one of the reasons why it pisses me off that not one player made the Pro Bowl.
I'm good
That's
with it.
ridiculous.
I'd rather
No,
they
I'd rather have the Super Bowl,
yeah.
but the level of talent, come on, man.
Yeah. I from top to bottom. And you know, again, Levante David still doesn't get the love that he's deserved. He's played
Yep.
at a high level since day one.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, the team, like you said, it's a special team, and the fact that they were able to keep all 22 starters together for
Yeah.
another year, man. But there's some level of luck, as you were alluding to. There's some level of luck with every Super Bowl run.
Right.
I mean, if you ask me, Kansas City was lucky to get past Cleveland because of that no call. That no call, man, that was ridiculous. That was an obvious penalty. Should have put the ball on the 1 yard line. Didn't get called. That kind of stuff just happens.
Yeah, Kansas City is a sore subject for me. I just I went to the University of Kansas, and as a Bucks fan, and just everybody comes out of the woodwork when the Bucks are playing Kansas City, and I get all the trash talk, all the slander, all the text messages and stuff. And ironically, I just had to remind people that they only scored 7 points in the second half of the game in week 12.
That's right.
And they only one touchdown in the
That's
second
right.
half of 12. So, I mean, you could go 6 quarters and the Kansas City Chiefs only scored 1 touchdown.
I was just thinking that.
And I try to explain it to people. And this is my favorite thing. This is why I was, and this may be petty. Kansas City, well, going back to 94, 93 was the last time Kansas City had beaten Tampa up until 2020.
Okay.
So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I love throwing that in their face too. And now I can't do that because 2020. Again, that Super Bowl made up for it. So I'm kind of good with that.
Yeah, Super Bowl is phenomenal. I didn't know that. That's a great stat, though. I did not know that. The first time since '93. Wow.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know if you remember the game at Arrowhead. I don't know if I don't think they call it Arrowhead anymore, but at Chiefs Stadium, Jameis Winston was there, and they were doing the tomahawk chop. And I swear this guy thought he was at Florida State because he balled out of his mind that game. And
that's the thing, man. That's the Jameis. Oh, don't even get me started on Jameis, man. Don't even get me started on Jameis.
That game was just ironic. I mean, everybody that was from Florida State played good just because they were in the hype and stuff, and they thought they were at Doak Stadium or something.
Oh, they're very proud of that stadium. It's supposed to be the hardest place to play in the league or something. And I think personally, I would think Denver would be tougher because of the altitude and the crowd noise, because it's thinner air. Because it's loud there too. Seattle, absolutely. Oh man, yeah, that's right. Seattle is the 12th man. They call it the 12th man for a reason. Yep.
Have you?
What do you think? No, I haven't been to Seattle. I've been to Seattle. I haven't been to that stadium.
That's the one stadium that if I had to pick one stadium that I do want to go to, it would be the one in Seattle, because I just want to hear how loud this is for myself.
Really? You want to go here? Okay. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't mind doing that too. That's kind of cool. I have, however, been to Lambeau Field, and I cannot stand Aaron Rodgers. Won't go there. But Lambeau Field is a special place because it really is. You want to go because of the lore. I mean, it's football mecca. You know what I mean? But it is, bro. It is so in need of update. It's like they're so proud of the fact that it was like the first 2 Super Bowls of one there, that they haven't changed anything, and it shows. They need to update that thing badly. Oh man.
I'm trying to think what other stadiums, because I'm with you on that one. What other stadiums? The majority of the stadiums have been pretty much upgraded for the most part.
Yeah, Dallas the Cowboy Stadium kind of kicked all that off. I can't stand Jerry Jones, but he did a really good job. It's a very impressive stadium. I don't know if you've been. It's a very impressive stadium. The only thing is something that I heard other stadiums are copying that I'm not a big fan of, that they do in Dallas, is the whole jumbo screens.
Yeah.
Every end of the field. And the problem with that is I've been to Cowboy Stadium, has been invited for a few games. And the screens are impressive. I mean, the definition, the high def and all that stuff, and they're very, very large. But that's part of the problem. You spend so much time so transfixed on the screen that you're not watching the game.
Right.
And you're like, I could have done this at home. So yeah.
So the screens do become a distraction then.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Well, unless you have like 100 level or 200 level seats, because you're not going to be doing this to look at the screen. But if you're in the 3, 4, 5, 6, you're going to be. It's really hard to avoid the screen, not look at them, and look at the players instead. But they are very useful at halftime when the cheerleaders come out to play. I will give them that.
I totally get your logic. KB Kim Barrett wants to come on here. Yeah, definitely. I don't know. KB, you want to call in or you want to jump on video? It's up to you, man. Let me know. Let me get my Twitter up here.
Johnny Dean said Casey is loud as hell.
Yeah, that's and I've been there once, and it's loud. When I remember, it was loud, but it was cold, and I was miserable. I don't know if it took away from everything, but it was freezing. I think it was like maybe 15. It may have been 15 degrees. It was freezing.
Why did you go?
The girl I was dating at the time.
Say no more. No more.
Yeah, so I was led astray, and I just.
Yeah, you're like, I like KC too.
I didn't go that far.
It's amazing what guys will say. It's amazing the stuff will say. I love KC my whole life.
No, again, that was an experience right there. I've been to New Orleans a few times. I've been to their stadium. I've been to Atlanta, and I hate their stadium.
The new one,
Atlanta.
The new one?
Yeah, the one that looks like a Megatron or something like that.
Yeah. You've been to that? You could Megatron's butthole or whatever they call it. Excuse my language.
But yeah. I think you over here, you can say whatever you want to here. This is the most unprofessional.
Okay, cool.
This is the most unprofessional show on Bucks Report.
Nice.
And normally it was so sad because I was gonna make a beer run. Then I forgot I had to clean some stuff up. By the time I get everything done and I'm rushing to get, and then Brad Johnson, I figured we finally locked that in. I'm like, oh man, I forgot to get beer. So it didn't work out. But anyway, I've got sparkling water, just as good.
Nice. I love it, man. You don't like Megatron, but I heard it was a pretty impressive stadium.
Well,
I haven't been, but I heard it was nice.
This is what you have to know about me. Dallas and Atlanta are an abomination to the NFL. And I will never say anything positive about their stadium. And what made Tom Brady coming to Tampa so beautiful is what he did to the Atlanta Falcons, their fan base, their team, everything. They've been on radio silence for a long time, and I've been good with that. And I've been here to appreciate it.
Yeah, and that he did in the Super Bowl, he did it again in the regular season as the Tampa Bay Bucks. That was phenomenal. They were up by 17 points and still lost. That was beautiful. I know people in Atlanta have like voodoo dolls of Tom Brady. I hate him.
What do you think the conversation was like when they found out he was coming to Tampa?
Oh man! I know they're probably just. Have you ever watched the reaction videos to that 28-3 Super Bowl? Bro, people are destroying nice flat screen TV sets. I mean, it is hilarious.
Yeah, this guy had a 65-inch TV and just he threw it in his yard.
Oh, I cried. You know a bunch of TV sets got broken. A bunch of TV sets got broken. The moment he signed the contract, people my
favorite one was the hip hop artist. I can't remember who it was that were celebrating. They were talking trash all the way to halftime. And just
T.I., I think it was.
Huh?
I think it was T.I.
Or a little Bow Wow, one of the two.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Well, he's always taking L's anyway, so this is no different.
Right.
So just listening to those guys, and I do occasionally. That and the Minnesota Miracle and New Orleans. Those are a few things that I love to watch when I feel sad and want to bring myself up a little bit. The no catch for that Tony Romo threw for Dallas.
Oh yeah.
Another thing that I really like to watch when I'm feeling sad. So I have a list.
That's awesome. Why you that Schadenfreude just living off other people's pain? I love it. That's awesome.
Exactly. I drink those tears. I enjoy them.
Well, trust me, you're lucky you don't live here because Dallas fans are the worst. They are. I mean, God bless them. I have some great friends who are Dallas fans, but they are the worst.
And that's why you not root for them. You want them to fail. And that's what I'm good with. You know, and when they talk about Jerry Jones and he's bragging about this and bragging about that, well, you know, you can brag about why you didn't keep Jimmy Johnson.
Right. That's the curse. That's the curse right there. They haven't won since. They won. And don't give me this Barry Switzer crap. They won with Jimmy's team. Yeah. That was Jimmy's team and Jimmy's playbook, essentially. And that's how they won. And after that, Barry couldn't win nothing else on his own, trying to come up with new plays.
That was the year they struggled when they won that Super Bowl with Barry.
Yep. And it's just because of the talent level that they had on the team, they won. That's literally what it was, sheer talent. And after that, Barry, I promise you, go watch the NFL Presents, where they have like different players, usually quarterbacks, but different running backs, all that kind of stuff. But they do the NFL Presents deal. The NFL Presents on NFL Network with Troy Aikman is awesome because that man has no love for Barry Switzer. I mean, no love for Barry Switzer.
But you got to think about this. I mean, wasn't Barry Switzer the coach when Troy Aikman was at OU?
Yep, and he liked him then because what he said he liked about him was he reminded him of Jimmy. Because here's the dynamic that Troy and Jimmy had. Jimmy was the bad cop. Troy was a good cop. Essentially like Brady and Belichick. Jimmy was a bad cop. Troy was a good cop. So when Jimmy was getting on people's butts, I almost said the A word, but Jimmy was getting on people's butts.
Yeah.
Troy would say, "Oh, come on, guys, don't worry about it." And so he was they followed Troy because Troy was that calming effect, like we were talking about earlier with Brad.
That's what made him successful, was being able to get ass. I mean, that's what he did in Miami. He was all up in their ass, and then that's what kept him motivated to play, and that's why he was, fortunate to be able to do what he did.
Yep. And Troy was expecting that of Barry in Dallas. But when Barry got to Dallas, he was like the nice grandpa who wants to give you a word, a little butterscotch deal. And Troy hated it. He hated it. He hated Barry's coaching style. He hated all of it. He said a total lack of discipline. He hated it.
So, being a Bucks fan in Texas, what was that like? I mean, when the Bucks won the Super Bowl, nobody wanted to tell you because
glorious.
The Buccaneers are upstarts and they should have never won, and they won with Tom Brady. And I'm sure you got every excuse from 6 Ways to Sunday.
It was glorious. It's a beautiful thing. I said, Tom Brady. I was clowning on my folks out here. I was clowning on my guys. I said, Tom Brady has more NFC championships than Dallas does in the last 25 years. His first year, he's got more NFC championships than Dallas has in 25 years. I was clowning on him hard, bro. I was clowning. It was hilarious.
The HR lady, hopefully she's not watching, but we had this thing team build where I have to dress in what you pick out, like t-shirts and stuff like that. Nice. So she got me this Dallas Cowboys t-shirt, this big ass ugly star right in the middle of it. So, and she was laughing. She was so proud of herself. So I went and got a Sharpie and drew a big circle with a big line through it.
Oh man!
And then I put the playoff losses. I forgot what it was 0 and whatever since I put a whole bunch of stuff on there. And so I was wearing around the office, and she's like, "Why did you do that to that shirt?" I said, "You gave me the shirt. It's my shirt."
It's exactly. Do what you want.
I'm wearing it I'm a good sport. I'm wearing this shirt. So
right. But you had to fix it up a little bit. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I had to modernize it.
I have to admit, I admire the fan base from this perspective. Their level of delusion knows no bounds. Because I don't know how you can seriously believe their team is going to the Super Bowl every year when they haven't even been to an NFC Championship game in 25.
This is
But
our year.
somehow they pull it off. They pull it
Yeah.
off every year. It's
What is,
amazing.
and have you seen the meme? It's our year starter kit where the guy's got these long denim shorts on, and he's got some Dallas Cowboy Jordans with the little star on them, and he's got a vape pen and this
Oh,
and an Emmitt Smith jersey. So it's the what did they say? They said it was this is our year starter kit.
yeah. I'm telling you, they live on them 5 championships, bro. I got friends to this day. We got 5 championships. I'm with, bro. My oldest son wasn't even born. You guys won a championship. Stop it.
Bud Cannibal says now Dallas has Dan Quinn's defense. Record shows not good. Again, it's being healthy. It's the best ability is availability. And that's the one thing that's been the problem for the Dallas Cowboys over the years has just not this key players have not been available. Sean Lee not had all those concussion issues. I mean,
right.
Guy who would have been an integral part of that defense. Just the injuries when they occurred and and not having a depth behind him, I think it hurt this team a lot. But again, I said this on, I forgot what show we were on together. Dallas will not win a Super Bowl as long as the Joneses, or at least Jerry Jones, has any say-so on that team.
I completely agree. I do think that I won't blame it completely on Jerry. I'll love to get your thoughts on the Dan Quinn thing. But before that, the stupid coach's name now. McCarthy. McCarthy. He screwed up really badly because Dallas already had a really good DC in Dallas, Richard, when he got there. But he wants to put his fingerprints on it, and he got Noah, who was ridiculous. Now, Dan Quinn is a good DC. He may not be a great head coach, but he was a very good DC in Seattle. So I'm not going to sleep on Dallas's defense. I think they're going to be markedly better this year than they were last year.
And I could be wrong again, and I'll be more than happy to come back on here and admit I was wrong. He was in the perfect storm in Seattle. The way they drafted, the way they picked these players, these are generational players, quite a few generational players on that Legion of Boom. And I think staying healthy and some other issues really stopped them from really progressing to be bigger than what they were. But I think he was very fortunate with the crop of talent that he had there. And, coming to Atlanta with the general manager that you have, I mean, it just wasn't conducive for him being successful. So it's going to be interesting to see how he works with the players he has there. And can he make them work in this system that we saw that was so phenomenal with the Seahawks? Yeah.
Well, they were able to do it before. Like I said, if he can at least get back to how he coached in Seattle, I think Dallas has a shot of being a good defense. That's why I said, I cannot stand Ryan Fitztragic. Cannot stand the man. And he's the main reason why I don't want to say Washington is going to win that division. I do believe if Dallas's defense improves like I think they will, they have a shot at winning that division. However, if you had to ask me right now, I'd say it looks like Washington's got a better shot at it. Solely because of their defense.
And what is your take on the Giants then? I mean, I don't know if we discussed this the last time, but what are your thoughts on the
Giants? I don't dislike.
They ruin people's chances. They're like the spoilers out there.
They really are. They really are. I think
you've got a team that's on the right track, and they're doing the right things. They're making moves, and then all of a sudden they run into New York and they get derailed, and then New York goes and plays the next week and they play horrible, and then it's just back.
And that almost happened to Tampa last year. They almost got beat by the Giants.
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm happy Saquon Barkley's back because I think he's a phenomenal running back. I like watching him play.
And he stay healthy.
Yeah, there you go. And secondly, if I had to sum up the Giants, I would sum it up. Do you remember that run when Daniel Jones was wide open? He got thrown a pass. He was wide open for a touchdown, man. He tripped like on the 15-yard line, tripped over his own feet and fell
Yeah.
flat. That's the Giants in a
That's the
nutshell.
Giants. Yeah,
That's the
I
Giants.
totally
Yeah.
get that. And that's an interesting question. Are you sold on Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes, who basically realistically got his name from playing against the Bucks?
Yep. Yep. Because he played great that game. Like I said, we almost lost, but I don't hate him as much as some of the other people on Bucks Report do. I think he has a chance to improve. We'll see. We'll see if he can pull a Josh Allen this season, like Josh Allen pulled last season. We'll see.
So,
and if he does,
is Josh Allen legit in your opinion?
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. I think Josh Allen's the truth up there.
Yeah. And that kind of brings me back when you talk about these quarterbacks that were all around the same time. Is Sam Darnold is Sam Darnold the truth? I mean, I am sold. You could not right now get me to go one way or the other on him, because when you go back and look at him, there were games where he looked like if he had the help around him, he could really make some plays. He could do some things. Then there are other days where you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Why did you just get the ball out? But he's like, he has that he's a blessing and a curse. And that's kind of what you got from him. But when you look at players and you look at leadership, that's what you see with Allen is that leadership quality that we talk about. And then there are other players that are just doing enough to really get in the conversation. KB, what's going on, man?
What up, Kay?
Hey, how's it going? Uh-oh. We can't hear you. Are you talking or are you not talking? Are you trying to talk? Nod twice if you're safe. If you're not being held captive, blink once. But blink once anyway. No, we'll get it on here. We'll KB, my co-host on Wednesdays, a Buck What You Heard, is we're gonna try to get him on. Kind of unique having him on a Friday. He's normally with the missus and hanging out. He'll be back.
Nice.
But it's there's when I kind of go back to these quarterbacks like Tua, I'm not 100% sold on Tua. I don't know what you have with him, and I just don't know. I mean,
I want to believe in him, but it's going to come down. I think the coaches messed him up last year. I think the way they did the whole have Fitztragic play and then pull him out and play Tua and then pull him out when he doesn't play well and play Fitz again. That's a recipe for disaster.
This was and you're spot on as far as I can tell. You're spot on. I feel like they had a good opportunity to let him set and let him come out next year.
Yep.
And show what he can do. No pressure on him unless there's an injury. Then you bring him in, or if it's cleanup time, bring him in, get him some reps during the season. But for the most part, sit him down. You don't need to. I mean, the team wasn't expected to go to the playoffs or any of this other stuff. And I guess that bodes the question: were they trying to tank the team? Were they expecting not to do that well last year? Because from what I hear from everybody else, Miami was not supposed to win as many games as they did last year.
Right. And I think Fitzpatrick surprised them last year because he played pretty well.
Yeah, he did.
But and I think I agree with you completely. I think they should have kept him in, let Tua sit, and then that way they could have spared Washington its current dilemma of watching him destroy that team, because then this year Fitzpatrick would have just been the backup to Tua and been a good backup teaching him the ropes. But now Washington's going to find out that he is exactly fool's gold. He is the living embodiment of fool's gold, because anytime you make him the leader of a team, he's trash. And they're going to find that out. But that's okay.
Well, except for 2013 with the Jets.
Okay. Yeah.
I got to give him that. I'm going to give him that.
He's fooled. How many different teams has he been on?
Yeah, I know. I'm just putting it because I think I won fantasy football that year with Fitzmagic.
Oh, stop it. Stop it with Fitzmagic. Oh.
Hey, he did me a solid, man. I just got to put that out there.
Oh, my gosh. I'm going to have an aneurysm. That guy is ridiculous. I can't handle it. I was going to ask you, though, what your thoughts are, because you mentioned it on Dan Quinn being the new defensive coordinator in Dallas. What are your thoughts on how he'll do?
Again, I think he showed potential, but everything worked out because he had a quality,
Right,
his defense was quality from front to back. And
right.
what he's working with now, I mean, what he had in Atlanta, I really don't believe that he had that great a quality of players at that time. And
But they were still pretty good. That
yeah,
defense was good.
they made it to a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
But ultimately, they just, they couldn't keep up. Players couldn't stay healthy. And I think that was a bigger part of it all there as well. But you have to be able to overcome that stuff in order, to advance. But I think with what he has right now in Dallas, I think Dallas will be 100% better than what you saw last year. And I think they're going to give Dak a few more opportunities to make plays, just being able to do that.
yeah. I was going to ask also, I know you heard the news today, and if you talked about this already, I apologize. I might have missed the first few moments, but Carson Wentz being hurt again, out indefinitely.
Unbelievable. I don't know with Sam. So if you compare him and Sam Bradford, and this is not being, I'm not being rude or anything like that, but when I hear his name, Carson Wentz, automatically Sam Bradford's name, his image just pops into my head. And here's a guy, and this is a blast from the past, who reminds me of the same thing is Chris Chandelier, from way back in the day. I mean, yeah,
I remember.
and so these guys, there are just certain quarterbacks that when they're healthy and they're out there on the field, they're good. But as far as dependability, you're always on the edge of your seat, wondering when,
right?
Or not if, but when it's going to happen.
He's starting to remind me a little bit more of Tony Romo. I used to call him Chicken Bones Romo because if you sneeze on him, something broke. And it's just I don't know what's going on with Carson Wentz. I don't know if I don't know if he's like from that movie, like Mr. Glass, if that's his issue, that he's made out of that material. But he just, the moment I heard he was injured, I just face palmed away. And I have no idea who the coach backup is.
One of those players that you want to see him get a full season in with no injuries, just to see what they can do. And you are a football fan just like myself. There are just players out there that continuously have injuries. Dalvin Cook, another guy. I would love to see Dalvin Cook just make it the whole season playing his heart out and no injuries, just to see what he could finally accomplish. And that would be something that I would look forward to seeing. So,
he's phenomenal. I saw him play when I went to Lambeau Field. They were playing Minnesota, and just even to see him in person, he's phenomenal when healthy. But there's the rub.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like OJ Howard here in Tampa. OJ Howard is a guy I want to see him play a full season, just to see, with all that physical talent he has, the ability to block, runs good routes, and I think he was building that relationship with Tom Brady. I want to see what they can do together, just to see it, and that's, I'm hoping the football gods answer my prayers and just give me one season of OJ. That's all I want. I just want to see what he can do.
I love to see it too, but I appreciate you, Gene. I have much less faith in OJ than you do, and it's not his ability; it's his availability.
Exactly.
I just have no faith in it. I have no faith in his availability.
So again, but that's what you just want to see. Was he worth it drafting him in that 19 position? Because I mean, on paper, when you look at it and you look at where he was during the draft, I didn't think he would drop to past 12.
Didn't he have a staying healthy issue in college too?
Yeah,
and that's why he dropped. There you go.
Yeah, and when
same thing happened with Gronk, by the way. Gronk had the same issues. Gronk dropped in the draft because he was hurt a lot when he played at the University of Arizona. But he's a phenomenal Hall of Fame tight end, but that hurt him. Same thing with OJ. But I'm not saying compare OJ to Gronk. I think he's good. I don't think he's that good simply because he's usually, I'm gonna start calling him street clothes. OJ
Yeah.
Street Clothes Howard, because every time you see him, he's in street clothes.
Yeah. Who was that? That was like Booger McFarland was like that too when he was here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, there are just those players. There are just a handful of players that I see that I'm like, man, I just want to see what you can do with a full season. Ramona K is saying Tua is going to take over the league and no one will ever remember Tyreek Hill when Waddle hits the field.
Hey, Ramona, put down the pipe. Put it down.
I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna save this because I'm like I said, I'm on the fence. I don't know what to genuinely expect from Tua to be very honest. And I think didn't he get injured or something like that? In like a couple of games after he came in, he got injured or something like that, didn't he?
Yeah, but it wasn't a big. It was a minor deal.
Minor deal, but it's
Yeah.
concerning, And again, here's another player. I want to see him get a full year. I want to see what he can do.
I think because he was phenomenal at Alabama. I think Tua could be a really good quarterback if he's coached up right.
Right.
And I'm just hoping that what he's going through is not mental because of what they did to him last year, and that's really my concern.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, that irritates me because he would have been fine. I really believe he would have came out stronger sitting all last year and coming out this year. I think that should have been the plan all along to protect him because in the NFL you don't get to do that. You don't get to sit a player very often, and you immediately have to push him out on the field and let him play. But they were in a good situation where they could have made that happen.
I think the last time we saw a rookie quarterback do that was Mahomes. Except for a whole year.
Yep, except for the whole year. No pressure on him or anything. Alex Smith went out and did his thing. He learned from Alex Smith, picked up the speed of the game, and the rest is history.
Yep.
So
AJ was not worth it. Mason said he was not worth it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, based on the amount of times he's been on the field, I mean, all joking aside, I mean, just
he's been on the field the same number as we went in the draft 19 times.
And this again, it's not meant to be in a bad way. Like I said, I want to see what he can do. I think he possibly could.
He's incredibly talented. If he can stay healthy, he's incredibly talented. But
a real good friend who's a Bills fan, so I started to watch some Bills games last year. They look really good. I'm impressed with the Bills. I've been watching the Bills too. That's been one of everybody. A lot of people won't admit it, but I have teams that I watch outside of Tampa that I want to see what they do. I just kind of check in with them. Cleveland, and Buffalo are two teams that I just watch them just to see what they do because they're entertaining. And I love what Buffalo's done. I think just top to bottom, bring a sprinkling free agents in with your draft picks. I think they've done a really good job.
Oh, absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned that because we talked to the guys about this the other night. And I'd love to get your take on it. You mentioned Cleveland and Buffalo specifically. Who in the AFC North and AFC East, those two divisions, who do you think wins the division? What is your lineup for the teams in the AFC East and the AFC North?
The East. I'm not sure on the AFC, and we're talking about the AFC.
Yeah, Buffalo, Patriots, Miami, and the Dolphins.
I think it's Buffalo, Miami. I don't know what the Jets. I'm still not 100% sure what the Jets are going to do, and I got New England as third, and the Jets the bottom.
Nice. Let's see. You and I on the same page, but the caveat is if Cam plays the entire season.
Yeah,
I got him at third too. If Cam's the starter and the finisher, he'll be third.
My whole thing is Cam is not who Cam was 5 years ago.
Exactly.
3 years ago. Cam's not anymore. And you can kind of tell that. I think when COVID hit him, I think that really knocked him back a lot as far as progression and stuff. I was shocked that he came back to New England, to be honest, because I think he was a 1-year deal, right?
Yeah, 1-year deal, but they kept on for another year. They extended him. But we saw that in our division when he was with Carolina. He was starting to go downhill after that Super Bowl because and I actually think that's when it started because they beat the hell out of him in that Super Bowl, bro. They beat the hell out of him.
Yeah, I don't. He's another guy that I just think mentally he wasn't right when he missed that. When he didn't go for that fumble.
Yep.
And I know a lot of people are talking about that wasn't a big deal. We're making a big deal out of nothing. That was a huge deal.
Yes, it was.
And I go back to players like Donovan McNabb. Donovan McNabb reminds me a lot of Cam Newton. They're both front runners where if they're winning, they're out there celebrating, dancing, laughing, joking around. But if they're losing, you can cancel Christmas, man, because that's what it is. It is. And you don't see a lot of comeback games here. All right, let's see. We've got a caller here. All right, you are live on Buck What You Heard. Who are we talking with?
This is Johnny Dean.
Johnny, I could have got you the link and got you on, man, on video.
Oh, he asked it. What's this question, Johnny? 60%, 60.7%, 44,000 yards, almost 35,000, 223 touchdowns, 169 passer rating, 82.3. Whose career stats?
Yep. What is it?
69 ITs.
I know Steven's never going to get this. Gene, you know?
Is this Cam Newton?
No.
No. All right. This guy's already been compared with, they've called these stats Brad Johnson stats. You said Cam Newton. Everybody's all over the place. Steven Glasker, those are your favorite quarterback stats.
Oh, you talking about Fitztragic?
Yeah.
Yep.
Shut up, man. You know what? I don't give a stat baby if he had 100% completion and 1,000 TDs. He still sucks. I don't care. And you're going to find out this year, Johnny, just like all the other delusional, tragic fans.
It sounds, you know what? This is the perfect time to have some kind of a bet or a debate or something right now on both sides of this. And I think you're both knowledgeable. I think this would be perfect. I'll give you 5 minutes. Johnny Dean, I'll give you 5 minutes. And you put your points out there. Counterpoint.
Gene, that's cheating, man, because he's not really a fan. I'm not a fan of Fitzpatrick. I hated him when he was with the Bucs. I'm a fan of eating away at Steven because he hates him so much, man.
Okay. We don't even have to take, and thank you, Gene, but we don't even have to take 5 minutes apiece for this. Here's the deal. When Fitztragic was I'm sorry, go on, Johnny.
Here's the thing with Fitzmagic, because his stats stand up with most people's, right? But the thing with Fitzmagic is he falls apart at the wrong times. Right. Every time he falls apart, he had the Jets going into the playoffs and then fell apart. He always falls apart at the wrong time, no matter where he's been.
How long is Fitzpatrick? I almost said it myself, oh my Lord. Fitztragic. How long has he been in the league? 15 years, right? Something like that?
I think it's like 16 years, I believe.
He is the greatest. What was that, Johnny?
He's been since 2005, so that's 15 years.
Okay. So he is, in my personal estimation, he is the greatest thief the NFL has ever seen because he has been stealing money for 15 years from 10 different teams that he's been on. That dude is. Here's the deal. Fitztragic took over for. Remember when Winston was just a train wreck waiting to happen? He was guaranteed interception every first quarter, right? He took over for Winston, right? And he played so poorly, they put Winston back in. That's your Fitzmagic.
He played so well, they put his shoes in the Hall of Fame, man.
I don't care. I don't give a fat baby. I don't care. Johnny. He sucks.
Did he cost you a lot of money? There's just the animosity that I'm just feeling here. It's like me in Atlanta or me in Dallas. I mean, this is that heavy.
That's it. That's right? My level of animosity towards Fitzpatrick is the same level of animosity I have towards Dallas. Because they tease you, like that girl you want to go out with, and you finally get a chance to go out with her, and she's like, and you're heavy petting, and everything's going well, and she's like, oh well, good night. You're like, that's Fitztragic. in a nutshell. You're like, oh yeah, this is gonna be great.
So at any point in his career, have you ever just like bought in just a little bit, like just
No, you
put
make
your
me
toe in the
sick.
water and said he's gonna do it this time?
No,
Just
never.
Wait for you to
at any
finish the
point
No,
in his
okay. I won't lie. You know what, Gene? Initially, I did because I was like, "Oh man, this guy's pretty good. Oh, he's making some things happen. Oh, look. Oh my god!" And it always is like that. Oh my god, I can't handle it. I can't.
I think he can hold it down in Washington.
Stop it. You don't even believe that, Johnny. You're just trying to mess with me. You're just messing with me, Johnny. That's all.
No, honestly, look. He's back in an old school football team, all right?
So who do they have it? Who do they have at running back?
Thank you.
Which one is it?
I'm looking right now. I'm pulling them up right now.
I know they just got a good running back.
They have a bad quarterback, though. That's the problem.
I got to answer this question
before.
before.
On the rest of the team to hold up and don't put too much on a quarterback. That's how you limit a quarterback's mistakes. That's why I say Jameis can be successful with the Saints. All they have to do is limit his mistakes by putting him in a scheme where he doesn't have the opportunity to make those kind of mistakes.
See,
a counterpoint to that is Jameis Winston has still not learned how to control his emotions, and
that's true.
And
true.
that coupled with poor decision making is why I'll believe it when I see it, because there have been opportunities, and I believe that if a quarterback has been in the league for 5 years, that's who he is,
right?
That's pretty much who he is. And I understand people are trying to say he didn't have a running game, he didn't have this, didn't have a defense, but there were times where the plays that he made put stress on the defense and put them in the position where they were to not be able to do what they do. So
you have a lot of team short fields, absolutely.
Yeah, and that does not bode well for any defense.
Huh? I don't think they're going to have him throwing the ball like that. I think he's going to throw 20-yard dink and dunks, just like Breeze did, and they're going to depend on a run game and a good offensive line to protect him and that defense.
And they just
Johnny's one of those hopeful people.
You're talking about a first ballot Hall of Famer, and you're comparing what he did, even regardless of his eroded skills. His eroded skills.
I'm comparing the skills, the scheme, not the skill set, dude.
Yeah, but you understand what I'm saying. I mean, he did have eroded. His skill set was physically was eroded, but he still mentally he could get plays done.
They're not going to have him in situations where he feels like all right, Jameis did this on his own because he never had to carry the team, and that's why he never learned with us. But he was always in a scheme that had him throwing 40 yards down the field 100 times a game, and that's just he was what 600. He was averaging 600 passes a season, right, and above. They're not going to have him in a situation like that, and they're dumb if they do because Jameis is not that guy. He's a fair to average at best quarterback, because if you have to put the team on his shoulders, he's going to fall apart. That's where his mind goes crazy and stuff.
Yeah.
But if you take him and that scheme and just use him, well, you got Taysom Hill there. So there's a lot of options they can do to take that weight off of Jameis and just let him be, in my opinion, a backup quarterback that's in a starting position. And not lose.
Oh my gosh. I can't.
Teddy Bridgewater.
I can't. Did you just say Taysom Hill? Did you sincerely say Taysom Hill? You mean Gimmick McGimster? Is that what you mean, Mr. Gimmicky?
Weapon. You can't deny Taysom.
Bruh, stop it.
But he's not. He's not a guy. He's not an under center quarterback. He just.
Wait. Who said I was talking about him at quarterback? I said put him on the field with Jameis.
Oh, okay.
He's Inspector Gadget. He's Inspector Gadget. That's who he is. I can't handle him.
I do expect to see that from Johnny. I do expect to see that from Taysom Hill being on the field. Expect them to use him.
No, you're right. Here's why Johnny's so hopeful, though. Because remember when I tried to make the analogy earlier, Gene, about how, when girls been leading you on and you think, oh, here we're going to, and it kind of falls apart. And you and I were like, yeah. Johnny's never had that happen. If you watched the show last night, you'll know Johnny. No one's ever told Johnny no. No one's ever told him no.
So he's a smooth operator then. I kind of figured as much.
Oh man, go back and watch. Oh, Johnny is ODB. Johnny is the original ODB.
Well, Johnny's the smooth operator on the crew, huh? I see.
Man.
He puts the miss in miscreants, huh?
He puts the baby in baby back. Johnny has a football team. Johnny literally has a basketball team full of kids. He has you know how dogs have litters? Johnny has a litter.
Listen, Steven, I literally had a son play I had sons, excuse me, that played for Miami. One played for FSU and one played in Tallahassee. Gainesville.
Hey, Gene, ask Johnny how many kids he has.
Johnny, Steven told me to ask you how many kids do you have?
Not as many as the guy who just retired from the Colts. What was his name?
Oh, Phillip Rivers.
How many does he have? How many does he have?
He's got like 12.
No, I think he's got like 7 or something, right?
Yeah, 7 or 8. That's what I was thinking.
Okay, Johnny, you're lying. You're lying, Johnny. You have more than he has.
So Rivers has more than me. I kept up with him, man. He had like 10 or 11, man, because I know that. I have 9.
Okay.
Sons.
So as of November 12th, he has 9 kids.
Okay, so he caught up with me then.
Oh, okay, so the truth comes out. Thank you.
I had my numbers.
I like how this works.
He had 12.
I like how this works.
I wish I had known Johnny back in the day so he could have given me whatever magic phrase he says to these girls. Because I just really wish we could have hung out. I'd have learned some stuff.
Just when it happens.
Wasn't too smooth. This cost my wallet a lot.
Now, Misador said something. Misador said something earlier. Getting back to football, I think he was talking about Baker Mayfield, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, Gene, on Baker Mayfield. I am not down on him. I think he's a phenomenal quarterback.
I think he can be good, but he needs to get out of his own way sometimes. And there, I've seen him have phenomenal games, but it seems like he'll have a bunch of shitty games. Then he'll hear something in the media that'll piss him off. He'll go in, have a good week of practice, and then come out and play lights out. Then the next week he'll have a mediocre game, and then eventually he'll go back to having a shitty game. And then it just kind of, there's this cycle where he plays better when people talk shit to him or about him in the national media. Then he comes out, he's focused, and he does what he does. And that's as an outsider looking in, that's kind of what I've seen from him. But again, he can be a good quarterback if he could just get out of his own way.
I see him being another Tannehill. You put the team around him, he can succeed. You put the right team around him, and they succeed. You got to limit unless you have Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes. You've got to limit what kind of weight you put on your quarterback's shoulders. You've got to build the right scheme and team for that person.
Well, I agree, but I don't think I would never associate Baker Mayfield with Tannehill. I think he's way better than Tannehill. Look, you guys have 4 offensive coordinators in the past 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
and he was got the rookie TD record his first year, and then last year he took them to the playoffs and beat Pittsburgh, the perennial team that always kicking. They should have beat KC. There was a call that didn't get called. Had that call gotten made, they would have beaten KC, and KC would not have been repeated. So I have a lot more faith in Baker than the average person. I agree with you, Gene. I think he plays better hot, but that doesn't mean he can't play well hot. My concern with Baker is how he's going to play with Odell back, because he played way better when Odell was hurt.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to Odell being back. I totally forgot about Odell coming back, and again, that team, they were solid. Nobody's chirping in his ear. I think he was more focused and more team-centric rather than trying to force the ball to Odell just to make him happy so we're not having to hear about him on ESPN. And I think that I'm hoping they don't revert back to the old Cleveland Browns. They have so much talent on that team. And Cleveland, the fan base is long overdue. For something positive to happen. So again, I really hope that can happen for them. Unless they play
Tampa. But look at their schedule this year. They're playing a murderer's row. They open up against KC, right?
Yeah. Right. And guess what? I think they beat KC in the opener.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put money on it, but I'm right there. I believe that too.
I think this is going to be a very telltale game, this first game, because we're going to see how Kansas City responds. If there are these world champions, you've got the alleged baby goat or wherever they came up with that term. You've got this guy. How do they rebound? How do you rebound losing in an embarrassing fashion in the Super Bowl on the world stage? How do you rebound and come back? Do you against a team that's a quality team, top to bottom? I mean, how do you rebound from that?
Exactly. Let's see how good this new offensive line of theirs is going to be.
Yeah, and with with the offensive line, you never can tell. It may gel right away, or it may take a few games for them to get together.
Right.
But
I'm thinking it's going to take a few games because they got brand new offensive line. It's going to take some time. It's rare for an offensive line to just out the gate everything is going well. It takes time for those guys to develop chemistry and work as a cohesive unit. And that's one of the reasons why I think Cleveland's going to beat them.
And as Bucs fans, we know about some offensive lines.
Yeah,
around here. Not gelling and gelling. So we've seen the worst and the best of both. And I can tell you, it just doesn't happen overnight, regardless.
Nope. Absolutely. I agree. We did ask, speaking of what Misador said, I asked you about the NFC East. You gave me that, but I also asked about the NFC North. What do you think the ranking is going to be in that division?
Not
NFC, I'm sorry, AFC North with Cleveland and Pittsburgh and Baltimore.
I've got Cleveland and Cleveland, the Ravens. I'll go Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, but I'm not 100% sold on Pittsburgh. I don't think Bathroom Ben. I don't know how much longer he's got. We'll just have to see, man. He's just not that player that he was 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh man, I love that nickname.
I got the same setup there, except I got Cincinnati beating them and Pittsburgh ending up in the basement.
Yeah,
really.
I love Cincy's quarterback.
Yeah.
I love that guy. But again, we'll just kind of have to see if that offense gels, and you need a good defense as well. I mean, they were just hurting for a lot of pieces, and I still don't know if they really addressed everything on that offensive line to keep him upright. So that's going to be huge to watch.
I've drove by the camp. In Pittsburgh here a couple of times, man, and from what I've seen, they're not the Pittsburgh they were 5 years ago.
No. And what pisses me off, that the Pittsburgh Steelers seem to have, and the coaching staff, the GM, the executive, they all seem to have more reverence for Big Ben than New England had for Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Now that's great for us.
Yeah.
But that's just sad. That's just sad.
And you look at all the accomplishments. I mean, how many rings has Ben won? 1?
2.
2. Okay.
So they cheated themselves into a second one because Arizona should have won that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, Arizona, man, that should have been Fitz's time, man, right there.
Yeah. But it is what it is.
That's one guy. Who in the league do you want to see walk away with a ring before they retire?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, though. I don't think it's going to happen. But
no.
Yeah,
it's sad because he is an amazing human being. Just what he does on and off the field, the way he's carried himself throughout the years. It's sad that he didn't get that opportunity. I mean, he had it; it was right there, and he didn't really get it.
Yeah,
he hasn't been picked up yet. I guess he might announce retirement after the season starts going, or after the trade deadlines are up, or whatever the hell. But man, I would really love to see the Bucs get him, even if he just sat on the bench, man. I'd just love to see the Bucs get him, and I know he wouldn't want that. He wouldn't want to go out that way.
He wants to contribute. Yeah,
right.
That's just how he is.
But I would give him a chance to win somebody.
Hey, did you guys? And I don't know if you guys have talked about this either. See the golf cart that Aaron Rodgers got?
No.
You got to go out and look at this. It's
We'll look it up
it would
now.
just it's like something that a pretentious super rich woman would get from her husband just to make her happy. That's what it looks like. You'll see it. You'll go out and look at this.
Okay, now I got to look this up.
Yeah. So and so I saw it on
Wait, this is his golf cart or his
yeah, I
woman's
guess
golf cart?
somebody bought it for him because he's back. Oh yeah, the pink steering wheel cover. Yeah, he looks just like
What?
Karen Rogers. There you go.
Karen Rogers.
Ferrari gave him?
Yeah, that's the
Black
one.
Ferrari?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's hilarious.
That's
man.
fitting. Yeah, like I said, it just looks like something that a husband who's done something wrong to his pretentious wife, he would get her so that she would be happy again.
You think maybe Bakhtiari?
I don't know what the heck.
Are you not seeing it?
I'm not seeing it. Let me see something. Oh my God, that thing's horrible. That thing is horrible.
TB12.
That thing is horrible. Wow.
That crap.
So I'm going to tell you right now, I'm so happy that Tom Brady's here. And you hear people talking about Aaron Rodgers coming here. I don't know how happy I'd be with Aaron Rodgers coming here, to be honest.
No.
I'd be happy with any quarterback that's going to come here and win games.
No, Aaron Rodgers.
And people, here's something. I know Steven is bad about this, but people tend to put their emotions about the player ahead of what would be good because Aaron Rodgers is a 3-time MVP. The guy he's outside of Mahomes and him. Mahomes, he's still ahead of Mahomes in my opinion because he's smarter.
Yeah.
I will give him this. His talent is ridiculous. His talent's ridiculous. But I worry about, and you're right. I don't like him, so I'm trying. But I understand. I know that I don't like him, so I try not to have that color what I think about him as a player. And my concern with him is if he was in Tampa, is his locker room presence.
Yeah.
Because nothing's ever Aaron's fault.
Yeah.
Nothing's ever his fault. And I'm just not sure he'd be good in the locker room.
You know, and let's just forget about regular season. We know what he does in the regular season. In the postseason, in the clutch, I mean, is he your guy?
Exactly.
We talk about with this team as it's set up.
I'm talking about
right
just
now.
in general. I mean, based on how he's built and what we've seen from him and his body of work. Let's look at his body of work in general, and not, we won't factor in anybody's opinions or anything like that. He's put up like phenomenal numbers, astronomical numbers at times. And then, and I understand that, there have been times where he may not have had all the players around him, but, a quarterback is supposed to make players around you better. I mean, is he still your guy?
Bingo.
Just curious.
As far as the players around him, even Brady wanted to bring Gronk and people he was comfortable with him, right?
Right.
100%. Aaron Rodgers never had that spot where he could actually play within a comfort zone because from Jordy Nelson to Randall Cobb to all these guys, when they hit their contract term, they're gone. Even like, what's his name? Charles Woodson is sitting there saying that he'll take a pay cut to stay with the team, and they still let him go. They don't discuss contracts. They hit that first big contract, and then goodbye, get out of here. And that's
I'm not disagreeing with you, Johnny. I'm not disagreeing with you, and I'm sorry. Go on to finish. I want to cut you off.
So no, I'm trying to work through this myself because that's an interesting question, man. Because I think Aaron Rodgers goes, he's going to improve that team as long as it's not Tom Brady.
100%, 100%. But I'm talking, and I'm, we can look at the regular season. He puts up phenomenal numbers, but I'm talking about, when the rubber hits the road and you need to go ahead and make that play. Because when I can go back to the NFC Championship game, there were plays that he should have made, that he should have, if he's the elite player that he is, he should have put I'm putting a team on my shoulder. Forget this. We haven't been to the Super Bowl in I don't know how long. Let's get this done. And if he has to get into it with the head coach after the fact, after he's gone out and won or done what he's needed to do, then so be it. But if he's out there, he's got that killer instinct to go out there and win. I mean, that's what you'd expect from him. I mean, just his attitude, his whole laissez-faire. I mean, when they played the Bucks the first time and Sue just knocked the hell out of him, he just he didn't have that killer. I don't know how to really describe it. Some intangible, I guess. But yeah, he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. But when you look at his body of work in the postseason,
I agree with everything you just said, Gene. You hit the nail on the head. I want to kind of expound on that by answering something Johnny said earlier. Johnny said, well, with this team that we have and Aaron Rodgers here, Johnny, he had the number one team in the NFC last year. The number one team. We were not the number one team. They were the number one seed.
They were favorites.
And he still couldn't get it done. He's 4-6 in the postseason, like Gene said. And here's a great example of how Aaron Rodgers does not have a killer instinct. Hold on a second, Johnny. Here's a great example, as Gene mentioned also. And in that game, he had multiple opportunities, couldn't get it done. The second to last play, 3rd and 8.
Should have ran.
He had a wide open pass to the end zone. At the very least, it would have been 4th and 1, 4th and 2, even if he didn't make it. He didn't want to go there. And so he got scared and he threw the ball, remember, into triple coverage, expecting Devontae Adams to catch it, and it got deflected. He threw it into triple coverage rather than run the 8 yards and try and get the touchdown and win the game. He does not have the same killer instinct. And then another contrast. Remember during the game, I think it was in the Super Bowl, when they were trying to bring in a play on the field, and you saw Tom Brady go, no. Actually, I think it was the Green Bay game. It was a Green Bay game because they were going to bring in a play on the field, and Brady's like, no. I got this. We got it. And he went out there and made it happen, and they got a touchdown out of it. Aaron does not have that.
Okay. Can I tell you something? Can I say something about that specifically? Our defense was pounding on Rodgers all day. You get ghost steps. You know that. You played, right?
No excuses. No excuses. Everybody plays the same game.
There aren't no excuses, but I've seen it happen with quarterbacks since I was a kid. Mm-hmm. They get pounded enough, they start making mistakes.
Right.
They get nervous. They pull the Cam Newton thing.
Yeah.
Okay? It happens all the time. And I'm telling you, the chemistry would – Brady goes out there and in 1 year builds chemistry. That's unusual. That's something that you don't ever see in football, ever. That's part of what makes Tom Brady the king of football, period. Okay? I've never seen it with Roger Staubach. I didn't see it. I didn't see it with Bart Starr, Brett Favre, none of them. It takes time. What's the rule of thumb here? It's usually 3 years to build chemistry with somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it depends on the situation.
Yeah.
Well, that was the old rule of thumb. 3 years to build your chemistry with your team. 5 years from the time the coach takes over till Super Bowl win. That was the rule of thumb. It's always been like that. And I don't know. I feel like I'm sitting here defending Rodgers, and I'm really not. He's a great player. I can't diminish that because the organization he's with, because I know how screwed up they are.
Right.
And,
Gene and I aren't disagreeing with you on that, Johnny. We're not disagreeing. He is a great player. I'm sorry, what was that?
Super Bowl title when he should have had more.
Yeah, 100%.
No, I agree. That Green Bay, you're right. Green Bay screwed him over in the talent department, and because they depended so much on his talent. Aaron Rodgers is immensely talented. The only quarterback I've seen anywhere near his level of talent is Patrick Mahomes. Aaron Rodgers is probably the most talented quarterback the NFL has ever had. But as Gene said, he's missing that killer instinct. Here, and you mentioned yourself with Brady, and you're talking about, you can get kind of skittish when you get hit enough times. I watched an interview with Giants defensive DE Strahan. Strahan talked about the Super Bowl when they were undefeated. And Strahan said, they said, what impressed you, what impressed you most about Brady and all the time you played with him? He said, we beat him up. And every time he got up and he kept coming. He said to the point when we thought, are they trying to trick us? Are they tricking us? They said they beat him up and he just got up every time and kept coming. There was no quit in him.
Yeah.
And that is the difference between the goods and the greats. That's the difference.
What were you saying?
The Giants the Giants did get in Brady's head. That's what.
Oh yeah, no, but
Yeah,
they still had a shot at winning that game. You're right. No, but Brady still played pretty well. His offensive line let him down in that game,
to that
but he played pretty well.
and to that point, Brady came back to the Super Bowl again. Brady,
Bingo.
he came back. I mean, regardless of
Right,
what
yeah,
regardless of what you say, I mean, he did come back. You don't see that very often. And again, Aaron Rodgers, he wins a Super Bowl, and they've had opportunities. They've been to the playoffs. Every time you're in the playoffs, that's an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. That I would say, how many other teams that are sitting at home watching TV,
Right.
those guys don't have a chance to do it. So to
You
me,
remember Aaron Rodgers' first 6 years there?
he was behind several of them. He was behind.
I know his first year,
playing?
starting. He was on the field. Yeah.
Okay.
Remember how hungry and aggressive he was when he was playing then?
Yeah.
And those battles when Brett Favre came back with Minnesota, and those battles were great, man. That was Aaron Rodgers before he was
Joe Cool.
Dissociated. Before he became disassociated, he was already Joe Cool because he was a rich boy from California in the first place.
One of the reasons why Aaron Rodgers went solo in the draft, Johnny, and this gets back to what Gene was saying about after 5 years, you are what you are. One of the reasons he went solo in the draft is because he had attitude. He had an aloof attitude in college. He has that same aloof attitude in the pros, and that's one of the things that's holding him back. I don't think he's as good as Brett Favre. At least Brett Favre would take a beating and still get up and keep fighting. Same thing was true with John Elway. Take a beating, get up, and keep fighting. If you're telling me that Aaron Rodgers got hit a lot and that's why he didn't want to run 8 yards, I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that.
Yeah, again, this is for
about his attitude and stuff, dude. That's I don't even care about his attitude. I look at their physical abilities and what they do on the field for 17 years, and he's done it.
Yeah.
Nobody's arguing his greatness. What Gene is talking about is his desire to win, his competitiveness. It's not about his greatness. It's about his competitiveness.
Gene, what was the original question there, man?
I don't remember.
You said is he a guy you would want? Is he a guy you would want on the team?
Oh, yeah,
is he a guy you can depend on?
Yeah. Is he that guy?
I believe he can win on any team. I think with the right team and right organization, somebody that comes in there and says, look, man, you do like this and this and this, like they do with Brady, or allow you to at least come in there and help recruit. You know what I mean? I believe something like that would boost his morale.
You know, and
every other team lets their quarterback recruit. Every other team a quarterback is the foreman on a company. Okay, what company don't talk to their foreman?
Houston,
right? And I don't think they allow Jimmy Garoppolo to recruit in San Francisco either.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, or Philadelphia. Exactly. There are plenty of teams who don't. There are plenty of teams who don't do that. Well, if you mean there are great quarterbacks, that might be different.
Yeah, I mean Carolina. I mean, I think there's a list of them. I mean, there are a lot of coaches that want that.
No, wait a minute. Steve Smith used to recruit for Carolina. He was basically their foreman on that team. And who else did you say? Texans. I don't believe they. Well, look where they're at. Okay.
Yeah,
but before that, they were perennial playoff teams.
The coaches,
right? And I don't think. Do you think San Francisco lets Jimmy Garoppolo make those kind of decisions?
Oh, who would be your number one guy? We know that Jimmy Garoppolo is not the number one guy there. Who would be their foreman? It would be like
Joey Bosa or somebody.
Yeah, maybe like that. You know, they've done their share of recruiting for sure.
I think the foreman is Shanahan. I don't think they have a player foreman. I think the foreman is Shanahan. That's who I think it is in San Francisco.
Well, San Francisco's done their share of recruiting. John Lynch believes in communication with his players.
Oh, absolutely. But I'm saying as far as I don't think they're looking to. I don't think there's one player on that team that they go, well, do you like this guy? I think it's John Lynch, and I think it's Shanahan.
Yep, I think that's the.
I don't think there's been a player there. There's not a player there that's been there for 17 years and done what these guys done. But I'm speaking of. I'm talking about your star players, star power.
Yeah,
those are the guys that recruit.
Hey, I want to bring in Mr. Big Time Rick Hughes on here. Welcome to
Hey, how you
my
doing?
friend.
How are you?
Good. I know you're
What up, Rick?
jump into this
Got a
conversation.
haircut.
Got
Rick
a haircut. Got the
About
hairs
damn
cut.
time. It's about damn time,
That
you
was about
hippie.
time, actually. It really was about time. So I wanted to. You guys are talking. I hear Johnny. Johnny, I hear what you're saying, and I think a lot of people. Here's sort of, I guess, how I take it. People tend to frame the Aaron Rodgers argument like, "Oh, I think he's good," or he's no good." And I think the bottom line is this: the guy's got all the skills in the world. He's phenomenal. He's probably got more talent or ability than just about anyone in the league. Just about anyone in the league.
Yeah, some of those passes
Having
are effortless.
said that, right? Having said that, something's missing in the guy that is what I don't know if it's leadership. I don't know what you can call it, but there's whatever that it factor is. There's something that's not quite there. Something that makes him former teammates sometimes call him weird. There's a disconnect. And I don't think it's that he's not talented. Let me tell you something. If he ever comes to the Bucks, I'll be behind him 100%.
Yeah.
But there's something that just feels like it's a little lacking with the guy. I can't put my finger on it. Nobody, I don't think, is trying to say, boy, Aaron Rodgers sucks. I think
No.
something's there's just something missing.
Intangible.
Right.
And I think what it is, I agree with you, Rick. I think what the issue is.
That was
Go on, Johnny.
sorry. No, I agree 100% with Rick. That's basically what I'm trying to say, but I didn't have the verbiage for it.
Yeah. But
Here's why I think Patrick Mahomes is going to end up being a better talent than Aaron Rodgers. It's because the thing that you're talking about, Rick, that Aaron Rodgers does not have, Pat Mahomes does have.
It's too early to tell. It's too early to tell.
He can make every throw. He's got a strong arm. He's
so
mobile.
Can Rodgers.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. That's what I think if because that trajectory, if he keeps on his trajectory, Pat Mahomes, I think will end up being a better talent. Because the one thing that Rodgers doesn't have, which is the no quit factor in my estimation, Pat Mahomes does have. The man played with a jacked up foot in the Super Bowl and played his butt off and got beat up and still was trying to win the game.
But the difference
that would not have been Aaron.
But the difference is this: what's lacking in these guys, and we keep coming back to, wow, look at how hard he tries. Jameis would try that hard. Jameis would play on a jacked up foot. That's not the thing that I'm talking about. There's an ability to make the other players around you
better.
Yeah. You kind of muted yourself, I think.
Are you there?
Did I lose
you guys? Okay, sorry. There's that thing that causes you to, whatever it is that makes that receiver catch.
You're hungry.
Catch the ball that hits him in the face mask. That's something else that's there. And and I think even Pat Mahomes, there's something different. And there are guys that lack the talent, lack all of that. Ryan Tannehill has that. The guys play to their peak. If you put peak guys around somebody like Tannehill, they're going to perform. Brad Johnson was on here earlier. He's a great example of what I'm talking about. We keep going back to, look at how hard this guy tries. Look at his physical abilities. There's something else.
Yeah.
There's something else. And that's the thing that Brady has in spades. I'm not even trying to talk about Brady because that's just different world, different kind of cat. I don't have words.
Yeah, Brady's a human. You can't even add him into a conversation.
Right. Let's not even bring him into the discussion.
And Rick, I'm right there with you. I agree. It's just something from the neck up that you've got where okay, I'm going out here to do this, and I don't care what I have to do to get to this point. I'm going to do that.
They're the Kool-Aid guy. There's something about this Kool-Aid guy mentality. But
that's what I mean, Rick.
But hold on. It's the ability to get everybody else to be a Kool-Aid
everybody's buying it.
Right.
And that's what's different.
That's true.
Pat Mahomes is a Kool-Aid guy.
One question. I have one question to that point, and then I'll go and let you guys talk, and I'll finish watching the show. But does anybody believe that without Aaron Rodgers on that team right now, that they have a chance at winning a division?
No, and that's his physical abilities, but it's not enough.
Wait, that is also elevating the team because that also elevates the team, man.
That's not far enough.
No, because you can say the same thing about Pat. If Pat Mahomes wasn't, I'm sorry, right? If Pat Mahomes wasn't in KC, do you think they'd be going back to the Super Bowl?
This is my point. Look, it's not just the mentality of, okay, do you have the Kool-Aid guy mentality where I'll bust through the wall to do whatever? Does everybody else on your team, are you the reason everybody else on the team is going to bust through the wall and be that, be like the Kool-Aid guy? And that didn't happen with Mahomes. You saw that. And the guys that elevate, the guys that take things to another level, it's because everybody else is going to charge, out of the foxhole. Not I'm willing to be in a foxhole next to this guy. It's, oh, hell no. If he's in the foxhole next to me, let's go.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go around the room real quick. Rick, I'm gonna start with you. Who is your guy? And when Tom Brady is not an option here in the NFL, who is your guy? Who is your Kool-Aid guy?
Well, beast mode's gone, so you can't really say that.
And it doesn't have to be a quarterback; it just be a player that everybody.
Give me a second to think that through, because there are players like that you just look at and you're just you feel like I would run through fire for that.
For me, Aaron Donald is one of those guys.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a very good one. Aaron Donald is a great example. I think there are more defensive players than there are offensive players like that. I think that there are guys that you look at defensively and you're like, with what that guy goes through and everything that guy does. Think about some of the players who've been through adversity and they just keep coming. And then you look at the guy and you're like, yeah, okay, I'm nothing's gonna stop me. That's the kind of guy that I'm talking about. Where
and Steven, I'll come back to you in a second. Steven, who is your guy?
I like what Bucks times 12 said. It could be Dak could be that guy. Dak could be that guy for Dallas. Because you saw what happened to Dallas when he got hurt.
Yeah, I did see that. Now, I'm going to ask you this because I'm playing devil's advocate here. Is that the same mentality as when as Aaron Rodgers?
I got a good one.
Not being on the team.
I actually have a good one. Drew Brees was that guy.
Yeah.
Drew Brees was that kind of guy. That you charge through anything to be side by side with. He was that kind of guy.
Right.
And,
so you got Drew. Okay. So Steve, and you've got who are you going with?
I said Dak. I think Dak is definitely that guy.
Yeah.
And Johnny, who do you have?
JPP.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That is a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah.
What he's gone and been through and can't step up to his level, then you
that is absolutely excellent. I think he's
By the way, Harry Berg is in the chat talking about bets. So.
There we go.
Oh man, I'm gonna let you guys go, Gene. I'm gonna just sit back and watch the show now.
All right, man. Thank you.
Have a good one, Johnny.
I think JPP is a great example.
Yeah, I think
who wouldn't go through fire for that guy with everything he's done, everything he's been through. That's a great example of what I was talking about. I mean,
incredible.
Although, if you say Kool-Aid guy, is there a better example than Vita Vea right through the middle of the line?
Oh man, yeah. Vita Vea is phenomenal. That guy's amazing.
I mean, when you look at the quarterback. When we look at the quarterback room from top to bottom in the NFL, are there quarterbacks out there that make the players around them better? I mean, that you can name. Can you name 3?
I can't.
Well, are we talking about pure talent? Or are we talking about
that guy that has that intangible where he can make you want to run through a wall and fight for him, and like what Rick is describing here?
I have. Go on.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I've heard guys talk like that. There's only very few QBs I've heard talk about like that. I've actually heard the Bucs players say that about Brady. But aside from Brady, because he's on another level.
We're setting him aside. That's
I think Baker Mayfield. Guys love playing with him. Yeah. The guys in the locker room love him.
It's hard for us to see it now because he's been with Cleveland, which is, I mean, it's off our radar. We don't see it every day. Mm-hmm. But guys really do like that guy.
Yeah, the guys in the locker room love him.
I hear Josh Allen is like that.
I forgot about Josh Allen. Yeah,
I don't know because I just don't know yet. I'm jury's out for me.
I'm still going through my head.
That's what I'm doing. A guy who was like that was Adrian Peterson for years. Now I think that time may have passed him by, but Peterson was like that for years. Now the opposite of that, is Jameis Winston, where the guy's just whatever that is, because the guy wants it so bad. And and let me tell you something. I think when it comes to want, he may be unparalleled other than Brady as far as how bad he wants it. Okay. Winston wants it bad. Yeah. Okay. He just wants it bad, but he's just goofy about it. And something happens and something, I don't know what the heck happens. And God, I wish for the guy it wasn't like that, but I mean,
Winston reminds me of somebody who wore a helmet to school. I'm just being honest. He reminds me of a short bus guy. He just everything he does reminds me of the short bus guy.
To me, if Urkel was athletic,
no, Urkel was smart. Winston is.
I think he's very smart.
No.
I don't agree at all. I think he's very smart. I think he's been studying.
On the whiteboard, on the whiteboard, he's
absolutely
he's legit.
Absolutely.
So he's one of those guys who can take a test but can't apply it in the real world.
Yes, that's what I said. If Urkel was athletic, it's just this kind of there's something awkward about him.
It just shocked me to watch him on the whiteboard, just going through all this stuff, right before he was drafted. And I was like, I mean, he's identifying all this stuff, but when you get him on the field, can't read it deep.
He wants it so bad. I almost get the feeling he wants it so bad it derails him.
I think so. I'm right there with you on that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just can't take him seriously. After I've watched him and his little hold the ball drills and he's during the headlights, I can't.
That's the Urkel thing I'm talking about.
No,
that's
he reminds me.
The Urkel thing I'm talking.
He reminds me of a character playing quarterback on Saturday Night Live. I just can't take him seriously. I'm sorry, I can't.
No, nobody really that's the problem. That is the problem because I feel for the guy because, man, that guy wants it so bad, and you can tell he wants it bad, and he tries to get everybody else motivated, and everybody's looking at him like. What? See, think about that.
He wants it more than he wants those crab legs.
But think about this. Think about this. This is the thing where Brady's speech, that we've heard about honor.
Yeah.
That we heard about all of that and how everybody got jacked up. And it was this epic speech that movies could be made.
Right.
Then you flash to, okay, Winston, I'm going to get them all jacked up. And he does his little rime thing beforehand that,
oh my God, that was
or the eat the W's or the whatever. And it's just like, it's like, he doesn't get it. There's something missing. And I actually feel bad for him. I don't hate Jameis. Okay. I don't hate Jameis. I'm so glad he's not our quarterback anymore, but I don't hate Jameis.
And I'm just kind of going through the list because you've got like Kyler Murray, Matt Ryan, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Teddy Bridgewater, Trubisky. Geez, Louise, this is bad.
There's not a lot. I know it's not like the days. It's not like you're bringing up. Not like you're bringing up Montana Young, Marino.
Andy Dalton, Drew Lock, Matt Stafford.
Matt Stafford.
He might
There's
be
a guy.
one. He might be one.
might
Andy Dalton. You want to know how much teams really want to run through a brick wall for Andy Dalton? Remember when he was the Cowboys quarterback and he got knocked on his ass and none of the linemen helped him up? They all walked away from him.
Oh my goodness!
But even Matt Stafford, you look at and man, how bad was Detroit if they couldn't raise the level? How bad were they if he was raising their level?
He was. I mean, I think Rams are going to be a good team this year. That's probably the game. I figure in the first group of first 4 or 5, we're probably going to lose.
You know who seems like this? Russell Wilson seems like that guy from the way other players talk about.
Mention his name. Yeah, he was a guy that I could see them doing that for.
Yeah.
No, because you remember and I was thinking about Russell too, but remember part of the reason why they had the falling out in Seattle after that Super Bowl was they felt like Pete Carroll was trying to put Wilson on display rather than beast mode, and there was a whole falling out because of that deal.
You want a good example of a guy that's like that you would go through a brick wall for is Bruce Arians. He's not playing, but that's a guy that you just look at and you're like, dude, I got to win for this guy. I mean, I love this guy. I want to, and I will give Johnny Dean credit for when he came here. Johnny said, wait till you see this guy and the way that the players love this guy. And I was like, do they really? I mean, is he really? Is he all that? Is he? And yep. I'm going to throw it out there. Brady was in an organization where he learned how to lead. Before Brady, he was the leader. Okay. Who was the leader on the Bucs for the past 10 years? There wasn't a leader like that on the Bucs for the last 10 years. And listen, I don't mean this in a controversial way. Everybody follow me with what I'm about to say because I love this player, okay? Mike Evans. Mike Evans is not that leader. That's not the role he plays, okay?
No.
It's nothing against him. That's not the role that he plays as a receiver.
Right. That's like Gerald McCoy was not a leader.
Oh my God!
I'd say LBD was. LBD was the leader.
Yeah, he was he quietly led this team.
Right.
That's like we talked about JPP. Yeah. JPP was that quiet leader, and I don't know where this team would be without some of the leadership that he had.
Did you watch in the current and you saw him in the tunnel before they were coming out? JPP getting everybody jacked up, and I'm watching it going, oh man, I want to hit something.
Yeah.
I want to hit something.
That guy has never lost a playoff game. That's crazy.
Unbelievable.
That's amazing. That is just amazing. I mean, there are people that Mike Tomlin is like that.
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin's a great example of somebody that I just feel like I would do what what can I do to win for
that
this?
That is a great choice, Rick, because Mike Tomlin has had some fairly mediocre teams up there, and yet he's never had a losing season.
Yep.
Those players play hard for him. That's a great point.
Yeah.
That really is. That's a good one too.
But there aren't a lot of guys like that, and that's what makes those guys special. Yeah. And that's why, as Bucs fans, it's amazing when we're bad. Oh my gosh, we're bad. Okay, we have the Gerald McCoys or we have the Greg Schianos. We have the Jeff Tedford.
I talked about this on Wednesday, and I want to kind of get you guys' thoughts. I feel like it's been mismanagement from the front office, general manager on down. The owners are really good about letting your general manager do his thing, and he handles everything up to a certain point. When you had Bruce Allen's an idiot, and I'll go on record saying I know we're supposed to be professional. I go rogue whenever I want to, and I don't have a problem saying that. But Bruce Allen was an idiot. He was an idiot in Minnesota and Washington when he had that power.
That guy was completely there by name.
Yeah. And to be honest, he couldn't evaluate talent to save his life.
No.
Then you bring in Mark Dominic, whose career started he was a swimmer, and then he came on with the organization and worked his way up to the organization. And if you listen to him now, he's a legend in his own mind about what he did. But again, This is gross mismanagement. Gross mismanagement in free agents, bringing people in, not having a direction for this team to go.
Isn't that hard to say, though? Isn't that hard to say when you've got 2 Super Bowl trophies and it is this management? It is this same. I mean, they keep in mind it was from ownership that Jason Light was. He didn't get to pick his first 2 head coaches. What team does that? Okay,
Right.
that was put on to Jason Light. Right.
But what you have to keep in mind, though, is that was the team stayed with that direction. They started building.
Yeah.
I mean, when Jason Light came in and they got Mike Evans, they were going in a specific direction. Now, prior
Not
to
defensively.
that, no, it just took time to build because the cupboard was bare when they got when.
Defensively, you go. They were all over the place. So they started with Lovey, then they totally shifted directions with Mike Smith, and then they totally shifted.
And just along the way, great drafting and is mostly draft picks with. We can exclude 2016, but kind of getting back to my point, it was just gross mismanagement.
Yeah.
And I know they were trying to do things, but they whiffed on everything they tried to do, whether it's bringing in free agents or whether it was drafting.
See, I feel like that was ownership,
but
because
ownership never really stuck their toe in. Like, for example, Jerry Jones, ownership never really stuck their toe in decisions of personnel, to my knowledge.
All right. I think that's how we ended up with Revis. I think that's how we ended up. I think that we got some players. We signed a big free agent to make the splash and sell tickets. I think there were a few years when that is the direction that they went. I may be wrong, but I feel like they were trying very hard to sell tickets and just please the fan base. And I think the first time, when everything changed when they said, all right, Jason, you got your guy. That's when the drafting became solid. That's when everything changed, because now you've got the general manager, the head coach, the players, everybody on the same page. You're drafting for one system. I just feel like, I mean, when you brought in Darrelle Revis, he didn't even play the right kind of defense for the defense that they were running. That wasn't what he did. So
I agree. I agree with Gene. I think it's more.
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's right. I agree with Gene. I think it's more management, Rick, than ownership for this reason. I like the way the Glazers run their business. They're not Jerry Jones. They're not let me stick my toe in. They're not let me tweak here and let me tweak there. I think they hired people who were not great managers. I mean, they're great. That's just the deal. And they got rid of some of those people. They hired some people who knew what was going on, and you get some things rocking. And in fact, one of the reasons why I believe that is because I don't know if you watched Brady's speech to the team right before they received their rings, and one of the Glazers, I forget which one of them, talked to Brady on the phone specifically when they were talking to him about coming to Tampa. And he said, "What is it that you want? What is it? In essence, what do you want from me when I get there? What do you expect from me? What do you want me to do when I get there?" And he said, "Tom, I just want to win. I just want to win."
Well, I feel like that's why I don't think that's when everything changed, though, was with Arians. Because keep in mind, it is this ownership that brought in Greg Schiano. It is this ownership that brought in all of the people you guys have been complaining about was under this ownership. So, I mean,
you had a general manager in place at that time that was, again, I honestly believe, I see what you're saying, but, from what I've seen from the Glazers, they've pretty much kept a pretty much a hands-off attitude on a lot of this.
I think Jason Light's first several years, he didn't have a chance. He was told, here's your head coach. You're going to draft whatever he wants. You have no say in this sort of thing. So, and he was new, so he took the job. I mean, why not? And then when that didn't work, I think Jason Light was told, you're going to use Dirk Cutter because Jameis is he's the face of the franchise, and we've got to appease Jameis. Yeah. That's how I feel that whole thing went down. And then finally at the very end, I think the Glazers, to their credit, keep in mind, we just won a Super Bowl. So I'm not dogging the Glazers, I think they figured it out, is when they said, go get your guy and you do it. And that's when they said, you know what? I'm tired of this. I just want to win. I think that's what happened.
And Johnny Dean brought up this point. He said, Dominic, as Mark, Dominic made up great contracts. Those contracts are why we could get this team together. I think Mike Greenberg, who came in 2010 with Mark Dominic, had a bigger part in this that never gets mentioned. His name doesn't get mentioned even today.
I think you're right.
What he does.
Yeah.
And so I think, you know, I guess you can give him some credit, but like I said, Mark Dominic's Mark Dominic. And I think Greenberg behind the scenes, just knowing what I know about this team now, I think he just doesn't get the credit he deserves for as long as he's been here and the things that he's done.
You know what I could say about Mark Dominic? He was a nice guy. All right, there you go. That's what I got for you.
Yeah. Well, guys, I need to give me something to eat. I'm famished. I know probably don't need it. I could skip a few meals, but I'm still hungry. So,
but all right, thanks for having me on.
We have to do this again. I really enjoyed you guys. I enjoyed going around the thing I love about this show is I don't have to agree with everybody, but I love hearing your opinion. It gives me perspective, and it makes me think, okay, well, you know, maybe he's got a point here. And that's what I appreciate you guys. You guys aren't afraid to say, okay, you know what, Gene, you're an idiot. You know, you're wrong. You're way off on that. I don't have a problem with that. I love that. And I think we need more of that in sports where we can all be adults and have conversation. And, you know, I don't got to agree with you, but we're having a great conversation here.
It's great when everybody on the screen is willing to go, boy, I'm stupid sometimes.
Oh, yeah, trust me. I'm winners.
Yeah, you and me both.
Hey, real quick, I do want to shout out Buckaholics. And guys, I didn't forget about you. Thank you so much for the swag bag. I appreciate you. As a matter of fact, I thought I would do this on air. Hopefully, I'm sure everybody's gone to sleep now. So I'll try to make this as quickly as possible.
No, I'm old. If I'm awake, they're awake.
Yeah. These are the new Buckaholics.
Nice.
Oh, those are awesome.
Wow.
Very nice.
That is cool.
So I got that one there, and then we've got the Tampa Bay one. I haven't. And again, you can go out to Buckaholics website. I love this. I love this organization. If you are not in the Bay Area, you could still be just like being there, where there's a lot more like-minded people like you that you can get out and really.
Nice. Look at that. Tampa Bay.
Oh, that's looking old school too. That's looking a little bit old school. Like almost like
you got the little skull in the back.
Nice. I like it.
So please get out there and check these out. Again, thank you guys. I appreciate it. And I'll get to talk more about it. And before I go, I do want to thank Smack Apparel and QB54 and Bucks Report, of course. Steve, again, I got to get you on again. I really enjoy talking with you. Rick, I've got to get you on from the beginning to the end. I think you guys are great. This makes for great content. So thank you guys both. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Thanks. I appreciate you having me.
All right.
Thank you, Gene. Appreciate you, brother.
We're out of here. Everybody have a good weekend.